And now, from the bowels of the internet, it's the HateCast Podcast.
The Hate Bit Podcast is on the air! Howdy, Hater Nation. I'm a.k.a. Joining me as always, the awesome Razor Fist.
Hooty hoo, bitches.
The unbelievable Alpha Omega Sin.
What in everyone's butt?
The unstoppable Hate Brit himself, Sainted Magnus.
The Hate Brit Podcast. Yay!
And with us today, we got a special guest. We got the man, the myth, the legend, the Canadian charisma machine, Johnny Millennium, happy console gamer. Johnny.
Jesus Christ, how do I follow up after that? That's one fucking hell of an intro. I love it.
I thought when you said Canadian charisma machine, you were gonna follow it up with Lance Storm. But
What's this, a boot?
But can I just kindly point out that he's actually a Yorkshireman. He's British. Ha! In your face.
Me and Satan were talking about this. Is that I was born in England. For my first 8 years of my life, and then then we came to Canada. Then I get the boot accent. And
boy, what a downgrade.
I know it is, eh? I'm bloody talking like this. I'll fucking step your nuts to your asshole. But I got the Canadian accent, so it's not as cool.
No, you need a suave British accent again, like myself.
Do you know what? The women over here would love it too. Women in Canada love the British accent, and all I can do.
They're stupid.
Is fake it. Yeah, pretty stupid. Get in my bloody bed, woman. Oh, what's it all about? Okay.
Just waterfalls into panties everywhere.
Yay. We love shows.
Thank you for having me, guys. So much for having me.
You're welcome. But for those who don't know who you are, John, who are you and what are you doing here?
I have a little show called the Happy Console Gamer Show, and I talk about retro video games. It's mostly retro video games. I play a lot of newer games, but on the show I kind of just talk about a lot of the old games that maybe some people have kind of forgotten about, like Alex Kidd and stuff like that. So people might know me from that. So the show's called Happy Console Gamer on YouTube.
YouTube.
Fabulous.
YouTube?
You know what, YouTube? I've heard of YouTube, so that's very good. Anyway, you know what? Welcome to our show. We got a lot to cover today. We got a special guest. We got good news. We got bad news. We're going to get nostalgic, and we're going to see that some people this week said some really stupid shit. I'm sure you already know who it is, but we're going to leave it to a surprise. We're going to talk about the stupid shit that Jade Raymond says. We're going to talk about a new console that's very confusing. And like I said before, we're going to be kind of nostalgic later on in the show. But anyway, we got a discussion to talk about. We usually open the Hate Bit Podcast with a discussion. We're talking about a article that Razor Fist and myself found at games.yahoo.com. And I don't know, Razor Fist, do you want to read part of the article to our fine viewers and listeners, rather?
Oh, no, the simple fact of the matter is, I can sum it up. They basically just discussed the falling fortunes of the video game industry. It's all there is to it. I mean, it just... And mind you, this is not from some fly-by-night organization. We've got organizations like Forbes, and lots of people are now latching onto the idea that the video game industry is not doing well. It's as simple as that, basically.
Nope.
Enter the gibbering, shit-flinging fucking simians that continue to dogpile on Yell Chaos every fucking week for not giving new games a proper chance. You know what I mean? Oh, he always hates everything. Yeah, well, plant that in your tailpipe and inhale fucking deeply. All right? I mean, in just the past month alone, in the past week alone, Yahoo Electronics, admittedly not the most gleaming exemplar of electro-journalistic credulity, and fucking Forbes magazine have both, to my knowledge, penned articles on what are essentially the flagging fortunes of a formerly vigorous video game industry, basically. And some will say, well, this console life cycle, it overstayed its welcome. And that's perfectly true. But I don't think that's a viable defense of the industry because those people seem to be skirting the issue that the industry itself are the ones who made the decision to act like a sweaty encyclopedia salesman and wedge their foot in the door and just way overstay their welcome.
Oh.
And you guys remember, time travel with me, back to 2006, Sony and Microsoft both, they seem to be in agreement that, this console life cycle will last at least 10 years. Seriously, and to date, they have clung desperately to that premise, and now it's become clear that it's at the expense of their own profitability.
Well, that's true, because Sony's done exactly the same with 3 consoles. They did it with the PS1, PS2, and it looks like it's going to happen with the PS3.
Yeah, and what I think happened there was because the Sony, PS1 lasted 10 years, PS2 lasted 10 years. It's actually lasted longer than that now.
Well, it's nearly
But
13 years.
But at the same time, it's like, I think everybody was trying to play catch up with Sony, and I think we can see now in 2012, looking at Sony's place, they were probably not the ones people should have been following. You know what I mean?
No, I think Sony's success in that particular piece of time has more to do with the success of DVD movies than anything else.
Yeah, it's true, because if you look back to when the PS2 was launched, it was a cheap DVD player that played games. Same with the PS3. The PS3 was a cheap Blu-ray player which played games, but but now that Blu-ray isn't as popular as DVD is, and it's starting to flounder, as we all know. And I'm not being a fanboy in any sense of the word. I'm just stating what I've learned over the past 3 years of owning a bloody PS3.
Yeah.
Well, not only that. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. There's no way of getting around. Folks, you didn't know this, but Razorfist, shot me some figures a little while ago of just money being lost here and there from different companies and so on. And you can no longer ignore this loss over loss, year over year. That does not go away.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about it a little later.
Absolutely.
But Electronic Arts specifically. People have been, Forbes had a big story about how Electronic Arts is, heading down the other side of the mountain. We're going to get more in depth with that, in the future. But they're not alone. There's all kinds of companies that are.
Everybody.
I mean, Konami is having incredible difficulties. Square Enix is having incredible difficulties. I mean, for crying out loud, did you see they just released a trailer for Final Fantasy XIV for the patch? They are officially calling it a relaunch of Final Fantasy XIV. That's how much of an abortion Final Fantasy XIV's initial launch was.
It is embarrassing that happened. I feel really bad for them, but at least they're trying to fix it. But I think it's a little late for that. But
I really think they should have just cut and run, don't you think?
Yeah. Well, I think it's hard to relaunch something once you've launched it. It's really tough. Everybody's gonna go, who's gonna get back on that bandwagon now? But my thing that I'm noticing, and you guys must see it too, is that when I go into a store, if I don't buy the next big game, let's say the latest Soul Calibur game that came out, how much was it that in the States? Like $50?
It's about $50-$60, wasn't it?
But I walk into my used video game store about 2 weeks later, or into Best Buy 2 weeks later, you'll find it on the shelf for like $30. So I think a lot of people, including myself, some games are like, I don't want to buy that day one because I can wait 2 weeks for it to drop in price. And I think that's just being a smart consumer, but that affects the companies that you're not paying their full price as well. What do you guys think about that one?
Well, I think that has to do with somehow this industry has never heard of a recession, ever.
Yeah.
They're playing in the year 2012 with 2007 rules, and that doesn't work. And, you talk about who's lost money and who's not done so well. Even the big N, Nintendo, the immovable object, posted losses this year. And you cannot ignore that. A company that has never posted losses, and then this one year where everyone said it sucked, and everyone went out of their way to say, oh, no, it was okay, turns out wasn't so good.
But you tell me one company that's not posted a loss this year, because every company has lost.
Because everyone
companies have lost. So.
Well, I just cannot believe the fucking budgets that are given to fucking games these days.
I know
it's like a fucking military. It's like to have a jet made. Just this fucking, unbelievable amount of money to produce this.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the problem with the gaming industry at the moment. They think they're the movie industry.
Yeah,
Like,
and
like I
that's
would think.
allow me to advance the radical theory that the industry, in its youth and inexperience, as a relatively new form of popular entertainment, essentially just grew too big for its britches in too short a time and actually began to believe their own fucking hype. Because you remember the stories that were running for years about the juggernaut that was the video game industry and how it'll never be stopped. You know, it
These are
just
the
I
same people
think
that
all
say, "Oh
that.
yeah, well, computers, that's where all the money is." These are
Yeah,
old
it's
people.
like
who don't understand anything.
for crying out loud, let's temper this enthusiasm, shall we? Because you guys didn't lay hands on the fucking gem of Sidorak. You know what I mean? You guys are. That was a Juggernaut X-Men reference, by the way.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yes,
And
we noticed.
but it's like you temper this a little bit. It can't last forever. No momentum lasts forever. And I just plain and simple think they believe their own hype, and now it's costing them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're releasing the same shit every year. What?
Okay, great example. I just want to say for Final Fantasy, every Final Fantasy game they feel like they have to top it. The graphics have to be better. Everything has to be, well, let's just say graphic wise. So that's money wise they have to spend. Where I would rather take, a smaller Final Fantasy game, one with not, the most stunning graphics. Just, we don't have to make it the next big thing and spend millions and millions and these budgets on Final Fantasy games are astronomical. They don't have to do that. Just make more of a fan game. Give the fans
Make a
more what they
game.
want.
Make a game first and then worry about graphics. Doesn't it feel like with Final Fantasy 13, like they were focusing? I mean, the earliest things we heard about Final Fantasy 13 were, "Hey, look how pretty lightning is."
Yeah.
Like it feels like they designed their characters and then they just kind of put the story to fit around them. It's all
Kind of the
graphics.
idea they're going more for like the, like school backpack market rather than actual games.
Yeah, yeah. They're
It's-
like
it's-
they've become what Dick Tracy was in the year 1990.
yeah,
A hype train.
or that's what they strive to attain. And it's very thinly veiled, and this is, for instance, we'll go back to E3 this year. I know.
You're breaking the
And
rules, there, lad. You're breaking the
notice-
rule.
Want to go
I
there.
know, I'm sorry. Well, that's okay. You notice that everybody went out of their way to avoid saying video games.
Oh yeah, entertainment products they were using.
Yeah, they're trying, because they realize they painted themselves into a corner. And
They're doing the same thing with consoles too. Entertainment device, media center. They're calling these things media centers. They're consoles.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. The PlayStation Vita is a prime example. It does more video and fucking music applications than it does actual fucking games.
well, they talk about how stupendous, and I've seen the PS Vita. It's impressive graphically. It's like, oh yeah, look how incredible it is. Yeah, what games does it fucking do that in?
Exactly.
Well, it's not the games. Well, you're missing the point.
Yeah, what
and,
games? That's the thing.
And I don't
we should be looking at.
Speak also about the alien video game industry. Who came up with this idea that if things are getting bad, you just stop producing product altogether?
Yeah. So let's just throw some figures out there. If you guys are poo-pooing this, if you're saying, well, this is just exaggeration or whatever, or us dogpiling on the game industry, here's just the number for you.
Hard
A
facts.
29% year-over-year decline in sales. 29%. Since 2009, sales have fallen steadily by 29% each year.
Which
You can't do that. You can't do that every year. You just can't.
You can't do that and expect to survive. It's like they're killing off. They're going for the casual gamer and the hardcore gamer, not actually giving using a broad demographic. Call of Duty is released every fucking year with a new layer of polish on it that goes fucking sour after a week. They've released an Assassin's Creed game every year in the past
It's
3
true, like
years.
in Soul Calibur. I fully agree. They just think that every year the sales will be there, and they're not. Like,
Yeah.
not many people bought the latest Soul Calibur.
I bought the latest Soul Calibur and I don't play it.
Yeah.
I don't play it. I still find myself going back to 2 and 4.
Yeah. And it's not just software. It's hardware as well. I mean, and it's all three companies. Throwing out more numbers. Xbox 360, over the past 10 to 12 months, has had falling sales. PS3 sales are down 9 months of the past year. And the Wii, since 2009, has only recorded a year-over-year gain 8 times. That's 34 months, or nearly 3 full years of declining sales.
Well, it doesn't help that Nintendo pretty much has, without coming out and straightforward saying it, has abandoned the ship. All you had
Yeah.
to do
They
was
have.
look
They
at,
have.
when Yoko
Oh yeah,
brought
they
up.
shot it in the face about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
When you brought up E3 was a prime example. They didn't say one fucking game.
No, they
No,
didn't
they
even
didn't.
talk about
Yeah.
the Kirby game coming out.
Yeah, which I thought was a shame, and for everybody out there, I actually pre-ordered and have my game paid off. The new Kirby game coming out because I love the Kirby games, but I think it's really fucking sad that they're celebrating the 25th or was it 20th or 25th?
I think it's
25th.
Okay, well they're selling the anniversary of Kirby and not saying a damn thing about it because it's not noteworthy enough. I just think that's
But why
kind of
release
depressing.
it? You know, if you're not going to plug it, why release the goddamn thing?
Yeah, it's going under the radar, but I mean, it's
I really
just
don't think
another
that
prime
Kirby
example.
games don't really sell themselves like Mario games do.
No, they want it to sell itself, but it's not going to. Kirby, I love the Kirby games, but they don't sell themselves like Legend of Zelda, like, Super Mario and like Metroid and shit like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, regardless, I think that all the one thing I was gonna say whenever Razorfist was talking about the hardware sales, I think all the consoles, because Xbox been out for 7 years now.
Yeah, about 7 years come this November.
And this
I
holiday
think
season.
that all the systems have hit the glass ceiling,
They have.
and they're
I
not
don't
going to
think
break
so.
through.
I think I
Dude,
disagree.
there's no way.
I
There isn't
agree
enough IPs coming out. Look, we're not getting new IPs right now. We're not getting enough, at least. We're getting sequel over sequel over sequel. So there's not enough to go and bring in and usher in a new crowd to get them excited about it. Now everybody is expecting consoles because they're like,
Well,
you hit 5 years. We need the new hardware. Where's the new hardware? Where's new consoles? Because that's what people have been pretty much trained to fucking think now.
Well, it's also the same thing with PC.
Yeah, and look, the new IP thing is, once again, it speaks to my argument that the industry got too big for its britches. They are looking forward to progressing, and being this massive powerhouse, and yet at the same time they're latching on to these old, antiquated notions of what the industry is supposed to be doing.
Yeah,
like,
the card has changed.
for instance, the new IP thing is a perfect example of that. The industry, the operative logic over the past, 20 years has been, don't release a new IP until the new console generation. New IPs are reserved for new console launches. And they're latching on to that just desperately. It's not helping anyone.
Well, if you look at, the way things are, especially in the States with how, jobs and money and, economic stability and having to do with, consumerism and what have you, we're at this point where I really don't think people are busting their balls to drop another $300 or $400 on a piece of hardware when we've got hardware that has not even lived up to what they claimed it would.
No.
And you want to know what supports that argument right there is the fact that Nintendo is still scared to actually give out a cost of what their upcoming console is going to be. And before anybody ever chimes in the fucking comments section and says, "Oh, you're bashing on the Wii U," no, I'm not. I'm bashing on the fact that they're rushing into this and they're scared shitless. They're abandoning, the ship that pretty much they don't need to abandon just yet, and jumping onto this one. And they have no game plan right now, and that's just fucking true.
If you want to talk about the Wii U briefly, I'm not against the Wii U. I just think that this wasn't really thought out as well as they claim it was.
It's not.
No.
And I mean, especially by comparison to other console launches. Look at every other console launch. You can argue which one's the best and which one failed and everything. But this one right here, Nintendo seems like they need to give this another year before they're launching it to really come out full force and get everybody excited.
It needs between 6 to 12 months easily. Or maybe even 18 months, just to make sure it's done fucking properly. Because
it's dropping in a couple months.
I know.
Just think about that right now, and
The biggest
and it's gonna flounder for the next year and a half.
Well,
the stockholders of Nintendo already asked, already said, "Hey, what do you when we launched the DS, we didn't have a really big stellar launch lineup, and that hurt us. So what are you doing for the Wii U to change that? You obviously you planned for that, right, Nintendo?" And Nintendo's like, well, we're working on many things, so it's not going to be a robust lineup. They already know it's a weak launch. They do know it's a weak launch. I actually thought about it the other day. It's an average launch. It's not terrible, but it's average. There's no
It is-
killer
It
application.
is average, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
The
Kinda like,
downside to
kinda-
it is that. Oh, good.
Kind of like the 360. When the 360 launched, it didn't have much. You had
Oblivion.
what, condemned Criminal Origins, and
Oblivion.
Yeah.
Cameo.
Oblivion wasn't at launch. Actually, got pushed back to January of 2006.
Oh, going.
So
Because I bought the 360 for Oblivion, so was that a couple months later? Right? Wow.
yeah, it was
that's-
about
that's-
January or February. I remember it got pushed back because it was one of the first games I'd ever pre-ordered.
Wasn't Dead Rising a launch game?
I don't know.
Dead Rising was
window?
earlier on, but it wasn't a launch. It was like it was
I
mid 2006,
It
something
was
like that.
about. It was in
See-
the first 6 months, I'd say.
I always forget when the hell they were. I remember most of the things that come out within the first year, but I can't remember like what launched
Yeah.
with it or what came out the
But,
month
but
after
I'm
that,
s-
etc.
Yeah, but I'm saying like look at some of the IPs that launched with the 360. They don't exactly set the world on fire. I mean, Perfect Dark Zero.
That was
Yeah,
a
I
waste of time.
Oh, Cameo, Elements of Power.
Cameo wasn't a bad game, but it was one of Rare's last great games.
It's one of the last games they actually made.
Exactly.
And now they're just making avatars.
Yep, they're stuck
Oh,
in the
woe is
Avatar
me.
sweatshop.
Although now we're hearing that Electronic Arts might be interested in buying. No, Nintendo might be interested in buying them back. That's the rumor.
That'd be fucking good. They can
It
at least
would
make
be
some decent fucking games.
If they've got that kind of money,
Yeah.
All I can say is Killer Instinct 3, please. That would
Right?
be great.
I would want that.
But just
Right?
just going back to the
and put it on a black disc.
like the PlayStation.
Yeah, just like it.
Yeah, just going back to hardware. It's one thing that they seem to be under the illusion of is dropping consoles like this Halo 4 Xbox 360, for example, at $400. Who in their right mind is going to pay $400 for a new fucking Xbox 360?
Nobody in their right mind, but lots of people out of their right mind.
You see, that's the thing. You're at that point you are targeting collectors, and they're willing to pay anything.
Oh,
So that's
yeah.
different. It's not like they're launching. It's not like the Halo 4 Xbox 360 is a new console. You know what I mean? It's just
it's a 320 with a fucking new skin.
yeah, exactly. It's with a new skin. It's a collector's item. That's exactly why they're doing it.
But-
It,
Look at the standard one. That's what still $250, $300 just for the fucking standard version.
Well, speaking of the new console thing, Sony's actually trying to go and reinvigorate their hardware sales with the release of the upcoming PS3,
Yeah,
which we talked about
the
briefly.
waste of time 16 gig fucking version of
Yeah,
the
the
PS3.
pointless model.
The super slim. The super slim at
The
16
PS3
gigabytes.
pointless.
Yeah, the PS3 pointless because all right, I play Gran Turismo 5. My Gran Turismo 5 game save is 17 gigabytes large. That's not even going to fit on that fucking piece of shit.
Well, maybe it's for the not so hardcore gamer.
Yeah, but even then, once you've with the mandatory installs, you put 2 games on it, you filled the fucking thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
well-
PS3 has tons of mandatory installs. Even if you're like, oh, I'm a non-hardcore gamer, with like 2 or 3 games, it's easy to fill that fucker up. And then all of a sudden, you're just like, wow, so I'm going to be deleting stuff. This sucks already.
Yeah, you put Metal Gear Solid 4 on there, and with this new trophies fucking bullshit that they're bringing out for it, that's going to bloody take up what 8-9 gig easily.
And God forbid if you go on PSN and decide to download a full-fledged retail game, you're shit out of luck because you have no system memory at all, not even for a save
I
file.
know. You try playing Crysis, off PSN. Bloody hell, that game's bad. But
Well,
it's the version's bad. I'm not saying the game's bad. Just to clarify before you stupid little trolls start going in the comments going, he hates Crysis. Actually, Crysis is a very good game on the PC. There we go. I'm covered my back now. I should be able
that
to.
almost sounded like a dig just then. It's a very good game on the PC.
Yeah.
It sounded apologetic and like, just shanking
But
somebody
it
at
like
the
had
same
a
time.
clip note on it.
Yeah, I'm just saving the trolls' fingers because I know that they're gonna fucking write something. I've had that
It's
fair
funny.
share
Wait,
this
you
week.
think companies have folded this generation? Wait till next generation. It's just,
Oh
it's
my
just gonna be
God.
so.
Well,
Oh
that's
my
what I was-
god.
But what do they have to bring us in another generation?
I know.
Well, let's just
Because
put
put it-
it this way. I'm not worried about the next generation because I still have generation 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to keep playing. So
There's
I'm
plenty of
okay.
games out there.
I'm okay there. So I'm not really bothered about the next generation.
And dude, that you actually bring up a really good point. They were in this article actually that we're discussing. They actually mentioned, nobody's really buying games, but it's unlikely that people will stop playing them. Michael Pachter, he's the big industry analysis or analyst rather, who works for Wedbush Securities.
Yep.
He does his little segment on game trailers, and they were asking him, what people aren't buying games, so what are they doing? And he said it's unlikely they're abandoning games to go do other things. My working theory is they're just going back and playing old games.
Yeah.
True.
I think,
Yeah.
I believe that theory is borne out by looking at increased sales on things like Steam and goodoldgames.com,
Well,
things like that.
I had.
And then the mighty emulator.
Yep.
The video game
Yeah.
developers are not interested in their back catalogs, so these other websites are doing it for them. And I think these other websites are ahead of the curve. And if Activision and EA were smart, they would turn an eye over there and say, "Hey, wait a minute, we've got this great back catalog."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's a good
just adding a conversation I had with a friend a couple of days ago. We were on about The Legend of Zelda, and they was asking, what's your favourite Zelda? So obviously I said, well, I like the newer Zeldas, but the older Zeldas are better in my opinion. So obviously they were like, no, it's graphics, it's graphics. And I says, no, it's all about the story. Graphics are just basically the nice fancy glazing on the top just to show you that this is what the system can do. So I downloaded a SNES emulator, put Link to the Past on, sent it over, played it, and it says I was totally wrong. This looks amazing. And for a game which is like 20 years old now, they're still having fun with it.
There's some charm, right? There's charm in a
It's
lot
the
of
charm.
games.
It's the charm of the
yeah.
SNES. Now, a lot of
Well, no matter what period in history you talk about, fun tastes the exact same way. Like fun.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, well, I guess in conclusion of our discussion here, what we really have to say is things are bad, worse than bad. However, there's a whole bunch of other old games you could go play. So go do that.
Yeah. Why do you think?
Yeah.
Why do you think Nintendo have the Wii Virtual Console? Why do you think there's the SNK, the Neo Geo Station on PSN? There's the Xbox Live Arcade with various retro titles on there.
Yeah.
They're still popular even today, and they're even reduxing some of them with for example, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. They have the online component for that. So.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep the old games alive, and hats off to them if they can do it right. Now,
But on top of that, if you haven't played it, it's new to you.
exactly.
See? So anyway, moving on. We got to get into the female bag, man. We're going to flesh this thing out. Happy Console Gamer, if you feel like it, please jump in on some of these topics here that we read. We got stuff coming to us from our Gmail box, actually. So if you have a question or comment, concern, anything like that, please drop us a line at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Our first piece comes from the Gmail box, and it's from our good friend Dynasty Star.
Yay.
And Dynasty Star says, "Thanks for asking my previous questions, guys. You guys fucking rock." Well, you're welcome.
Thank you.
He says, "I have another question that I thought might stir up some conversation in the podcast." Not like we're at a shortage of conversation or anything.
No.
He says, "What are some of your guys' past experiences with girlfriend/wife aggro?" He says, "By that I mean when a girlfriend/wife is unreasonable when it comes to people's gaming habits. I am sure you know what I am talking about, and I don't want to be too specific on what I mean. I think he means he's going to give away who he is and his wife's going to have his ass."
Yes.
I won't, from me, I don't have that problem. My wife's very much a gamer, and she's into that whole thing, and she kicks my ass at air hockey, if you watch my show, and kick her ass for that. So my advice for you, Dynasty R, is you got yourself a lame bitch. Anyway, anybody else?
Oh. Well.
Oh, you
do.
just slap her, like my girlfriend
Yeah.
was in the video games. I just slap her like a
Yeah.
lot and say, "This is good." This
Yeah.
is good. You know, when she starts
Just power bomb that bitch.
I'm okay. I'm okay on that front. I'm a single guy, so I'm okay.
Single swinging kind of guy.
Yeah. No, actually,
No.
to tell you the truth, if I get a girlfriend and she's into gaming, that's fair play. If she's not into gaming, then obviously I'll tone it down. Best way is just to do it when they're asleep.
I was lucky that way. Like when I met Kim, that she was into video games, but she'd be hanging out with me so much that I was like, "Oh, why don't you try Dragon Quest IX?" And one night she just started playing it, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is so fucking addictive." And I'm like, "Yes, excellent,
Success.
It's always the best thing to hear.
success." You know, and
Keep
right
that-
now, like we're doing the podcast. She's in the other room playing Final Fantasy IX Disc 3, and I'm like, I'm such a proud boyfriend.
Oh.
You know, well, you know, the slapping worked. The slapping worked. I did the slapping first, and then, you know,
Yeah, you
I said,
gotta
"Woman,
keep
don't
that.
eat my pot pie."
Yeah.
Well, you gotta keep that angry vagina sickness in check. You gotta.
Yep. They need the medicine. That's all I'll say.
Hey Alpha, does your girlfriend play video games? Is she like totally into
Yeah,
gaming?
She, it's nice because almost every chick that I ever dated had been into video games before they met me, so it wasn't one of those things where I had to like usher gaming into their life and force feed it down their throat along with my Johnson. Basically, like my girlfriend, who I've been with for going on 5 years now. She's real big into survival horror, real big into PS1 games and everything, and I've gotten her turned on to other stuff. Like I've gotten her more into RPGs and everything, and I got her a PSP because I accidentally lost hers. So I got her a
sacrilege.
PSP. Dude, I don't know what the hell happened to that thing. We're still trying to figure it out, but yeah, I got her a big stack of games. As a matter of fact, was it? It's like Undead Nights or something on PSP. It's made by Tecmo. I cannot fucking think of the name.
Anything by Tecmo usually has bouncing boob physics anyway.
Well, this doesn't. This is actually like a very metal game, very gory and whatnot. But it looked really cool. I'm gonna be picking that up for her. But yeah, it's cool whenever the woman in your life is really into games. So whenever you're playing and you're taking up a bunch of time, grinding out levels for like several hours and trying to get loot and accessories and gear for your characters, and they don't blink an eye at you, and they'll actually hang out with you and watch and everything and shoot the shit. So that's always nice.
The best girlfriends are the ones that actually share your gaming experiences with you. Actually
Totally.
play the games with you.
Well, it's not
Chaos
being
could
funny.
probably attribute.
Yeah.
Can continue with that, and so if
Yeah.
Happy Console Gamer,
Well-
go for it.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like, when you're sharing your life with like with a woman or whatever, that's kind of the things you're doing. That's part of it. So like, it's very hard. I've never gone out with a girl who wasn't into games, or if they weren't into games, we weren't together too long. Like, I remember one girl. She said to me, "What'd she say?" She's like, I don't know. She's like, "I'm not into the video game world." I'm like, "What the fuck is the video game world?" Like,
It's the world the captain and the game master lived in.
I know. Like, I was thinking, what the fuck do you do?
Oh,
you know?
is
And
that the world?
That's always the thing.
Is that the world where Mega Man sounds like a chain smoker?
Yeah.
And Simon Belmont sounds gay. All right, I'm Simon Belmont.
Actually, where Simon Belmont sounds like the narcissist Lex Luger.
Yeah, that's the one.
Well, I was gonna say, here's a good question. Razor Fist, how do you deal, man?
Similar to you, I've been very, very fortunate in that my, the ladies of the fairer sex that I've been with, they have been cool with it, generally. And generally, they're in the same kind of games, Thief or whatever. There's a lot. Here's the little secret to those of you who want to meet chicks that like games. Certain games attract lots of females. And one of those games, and I'm happy to say it because it's my favorite game of all time, is Thief. Thief has a lot of lady taffers, and it has such a disproportionately high number of female. I don't know why. I don't know. I think it's because they like Garrett, or maybe because it's an easier concept to get into than just whipping out a gun and shooting a bunch of people. You just have to hide from people. It's more intellectually engaging, I guess. But certain games, They really attract the female gamers, and that would be one of them. And I've noticed a pattern that all the girls that I've been involved with have enjoyed that game, which is fucking awesome.
Dude, there's 2 series. And they're completely fucking opposite. But I noticed that both of these series, a high number of the chicks that I've dated, I just randomly banged, or friends with, whatever the case is, were into both of these series, and that's Silent Hill and Harvest Moon.
Big time.
Harvest Moon, yeah, that's a funny one. That's true.
Dude,
too.
I mean, it polar opposites. Think about, the fucked up Silent Hill world. Then think about, happy-go-lucky Harvest Moon, where, you're just trying to build up that farm and then get a chick and then have some kids, and then those kids are running the farm. But it's funny to think that both of those series attract chicks in a big way, and they really
The Sims attracts girls, too.
Yeah, I was going to say that. The Sims and
The Sims attract...
The Legend of Zelda. That
Really?
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, The Sims attracts ugly girls.
Yeah.
It's seriously, it attracts all the girls who were not pretty enough to be on a sitcom, so they just made their own on the computer. Serious shit, man.
Am I the only one that plays The Sims just to find various ways of murdering them?
That is kind of fun, actually, when you put them in a room that's just, one wall by one wall by one wall by one wall, and just watch them starve to death.
I watch them go stir crazy. That's funny.
Oh. I actually play Roller Coaster Tycoon just to pick up the tourists and drop them in the water and say, help, help, I'm drowning.
I like to play Theme Park World and take out a section of the roller coaster while they're riding it and just watch all the people.
That's great fun.
And that goes all the way back to Sim City. I mean, who didn't love it when, like, aliens would attack your city or whatever?
Oh, yeah.
That was awesome.
I have the Super Nintendo version, so I had Bowser coming in destroying my cities.
I was gonna say, Chaos. You haven't chimed in. I know that I know your lady digs video games.
I talked about it at great length, did I not? No, she games all the time. She whips my ass. Anyway.
Yep. Yo, Chaos gets his ass beaten by a girl.
She rules, man. I don't know what to do about it. I'm gonna kill her though. That way, we don't have this problem anymore.
That's the best way to handle things.
I don't think
she won in that video game.
Chaos would like that. So.
I see. Exactly. That's exactly the way I feel about it. Goddamn women! If they didn't want to get murdered, they wouldn't be beating us at our games. Anyway. So yeah, so like I said, if you're having problems with your lady friend, she's giving you the blues, she keeps nagging at you night and day, kill that bitch. Anyway, we're gonna move on to
from accusations of racism to accusations of sexism, I think.
Yeah, we're doing quite well.
Let me challenge this right now. I get a lot of flack, People say to me, they say, "Oh, you're a misogynist. You hate women." I don't hate women. I am a chauvinist, which means I just hate bitches that don't work. Anyway.
And while we're at it, cover the racism thing.
The racism. I heard about that. Yeah, I love Michael Richards. Anyway, our YouTube inbox. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please drop us a line. This one comes from a very good friend of the podcast, from Mr. Ed T1138. And he says, "Greetings, you group of hateful bastards."
Hello.
Howdy.
He says, "First off, I love the way you guys have transformed 'fuck you' into a formal salutation. You're welcome." He says, "Now my questions. Number 1, metal, wrestling, or video games. You have to choose one to remove from history. Which would go?" Uh-oh.
Oh, shit.
I'm voting for metal right now.
What?
I have to remove it from history, then wrestling. I'm sorry, but I can't live without my music, and I can't live without my games.
I'd have to go wrestling too.
Yeah,
as much as loath as I would be to see Gold Dust go.
I'd say wrestling. Wrestling, because I can't live without video games. Sorry, I just can't.
The saddest part is they've all turned to shit, so I don't know what we're even discussing.
Yeah, but
Hey, no, metal is having a resurgence. Even the classic metal is having a resurgence. It hasn't gone to shit.
Oh yeah, it's great. Just like, never mind. Because then we're gonna have a thrash discussion, and then I'm gonna put a fucking gun in my mouth.
okay.
Anyway,
No, that's grunge. That's grunge you're thinking of. Sorry.
that's part of it too.
Is that a Kurt Cobain reference there?
It sure was.
A Kurt
Did it
Cobain?
just blow your mind?
Did he kill himself or was he shot?
Oh.
Yes.
I was gonna say the question is, does it matter?
Yeah. Whoever did it is a great American.
Yeah, see, you could have the same discussion about Michael Hutchins when, I guess so the lesson to be learned is don't hang yourself while you're jerking off. It's very embarrassing. Anyway, um, he has another question. He says, number 2, I have been gaming since the 1970s. You're fucking old, man.
You Bob.
But I have never advanced beyond the Dreamcast. That's bullshit because I happen to know that there is a Nintendo Wii and a Nintendo DS in your house. I've seen them.
Yes, he's mentioned them many times.
I sack of shit. Anyway, he says,
Liar.
convince me to invest my time and money into modern console gaming. I'll lay it down for you right now. Don't put that money in your fucking pocket and just go along your own merry way. You'll be a happier for it.
Just play your old games, you know.
Play your old games.
Be fine.
Buy another copy of Musha just for shits.
See?
Buy an original Xbox and buy a PSP, mod both of them, and then you'll have pretty much every console generation prior to that on the go and at home.
Or just soft mod your Wii. That's another option.
Yeah, there you go. Soft mod the Wii, and you have and just get like a little hard drive and hook that bitch up, and
play back
The
up.
most embarrassing thing about the whole thing is the money he's going to spend on a modern console and a few games for it. He could just buy a Neo Geo machine.
Yeah, he's already
In fact,
got one.
the Neo Geo machine would come in under. Just buy the Neo Geo machine.
He's
Go to a laundromat and say, "I want your machine," and they'll probably sell it to you.
yeah.
Or just drag your pickup truck through the window and throw it in the back and bugger off as fast as you can.
Just be smart. Get one of those all-in-one carts, because if you think that you're going to get plenty of those games for even a reasonable price, you're not even fucking remotely close. This is Neo Geo we're talking about.
Neo Geo. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there.
Well, there you go. That's going to do it for the female bag for right now.
Aww.
I'm sorry. We got a great big show ahead of us.
Aww.
You realize we haven't even started the show yet.
Oh, we're doing quite well.
I know. We're doing quite well. Before we get to the humorous portion of tonight's show, I just want to remind you that you guys are all fuckers. Anyway, first piece in the news. Razor made sure that I brought this up. Apparently, there's been a trailer released for Silent Hill Revelations 3D. I don't know anything about it. Apparently, it's fucking awful. Razor Fist?
Well, first I have to correct you. It's Silent Hill Revelation 3D.
Did I put an S in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess Revelations would be too cliche, right? Right?
Oh my god! Every fucking
fine.
game since 2000 has had a revelation or a revenge or something with R beginning at the as a subtitle.
Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Yeah.
Sorry, all the immense apathy I had caused me to include an S.
Or
I guess
ultimate something.
Silent Hill Apocalypse.
Oh.
Anyway,
Silent Hill wants to take a drill and put it to your temple.
Silent Hill Electric Boogaloo.
So here's an honest query, guys.
Why?
Silent Hill Revelation 3D or Birth of a Nation, which is more overtly hazardous to the human condition? Go.
Birth of a Nation.
I'm just watching the trailer right now. See what the hell this is about.
I was actually just about to ask, like, Johnny, have you seen the trailer? And then you
Yeah,
said that. I'm just like,
catching
no,
up
that works quite well. Here's the thing. I noticed that in the comments section of the trailer, I had seen a ton of people who were very excited about it. And everybody's main reasoning for being excited, because naturally there was a big argument going on over why don't you like it. Well, everybody's argument for why it's good is because it's Silent Hill. Okay, and that was their defending argument. It's Silent Hill, and then the other defending argument is, well, it's based off of 3, and I like 3. Not because it looks like it's good or it's a very accurate adaptation of Silent Hill 3, which we all know very fucking well that it's not going to be, even in the slightest, even remotely, because me and Razor Fist fucking talked about this for a little bit. It won't even resemble it, even a little bit. So essentially, it's just going to fucking suck every horse.
What rating has it got? Is it going to be rated R or is it
PG-13?
Oh, for fuck's sake.
PG-13 Silent Hill. There you go.
Oh, look, it's got Pyramid
The
Head.
fucking Chipmunk Adventure was PG-13.
Oh, it's going to be like watching fucking Nickelodeon version of Power Rangers. Jesus.
So-
You better tone down that horror movie. You don't want to scare away everybody. Got to bring in all the audience that you can. You
and-
don't want
and
this
gotta-
to go full balls deep Silent Hill or anything. Just rub the tip. Just the tip. That's
and
it.
be sure to shoehorn Pyramid Head in there, even if it doesn't make sense.
Oh, and throw in the nurses, because, they haven't just been absolutely fucking stuffed into every single corner of the fucking franchise.
Yeah, they've every time you go to an E3 booth and they've got Konami there showing off Silent Hill games. They've got the nurses there.
I've never seen the first movie at all.
I fell asleep watching that movie. That's how boring it was.
No, see, I completely disagree. Silent Hill 1 is really good. I thought it was, number one, it's made by Christoph Gans. Christoph Gans is a really good visual filmmaker. He's kind of like a French Ridley Scott. He's got he made Brotherhood of the Wolf. He's got a very interesting, He's got a very interesting eye. He doesn't always sign on to the best scripts in the world, but he does have his movies always look gorgeous. It's as simple as that. And Silent Hill 1 is gorgeous. It's a really good looking movie. It's got some great cinematography. But it did have a weak story in places, I can completely admit. I mean, I mentioned it in my Silent Hill retrospective. You say shameless plug, and I will kill you. I will actually murder you in cold blood, Satan.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, that's too easy.
God damn
Dude,
it,
I'm gonna wire him a fucking plane ticket right now.
Awesome.
No,
If he can
there.
come and knock on my doorstep, and I shall kill him with a sledgehammer.
You're a bit light in
is
the
all.
ass for a sledgehammer, aren't you?
But I mentioned it in that that Sean Bean, his character in the movie, did nothing. He didn't even have to be in the movie. He was discovering the plot of the movie, and then by the end of the movie, they already explain what happened. So him going and looking up Silent Hill records to find out about Alessa being burned in a fire, it was all completely superfluous, and it was utterly pointless. That was bad. But I thought the movie in general, taken on its own terms, taken as a separate thing that has its own separate fiction, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah,
But see, that's the
Sean Bean's in
problem.
this next one as well.
It's not going to be able to take. It can't be taken that way because they're taking elements from the game and they're trying to smash it in there. And then they're trying to go and make up shit as they go along. So it's really just.
Well, and they're
it's a
overtly,
fucking mess in that way. That's my problem, and it became forgettable.
It's the fact that they're rewriting things that drives me up the fucking wall. Vincent.
It's Hollywood, man.
Anybody who's played Silent Hill 3, which, by the way, is like my least favorite Silent Hill game of all time. I think if you could pick one game to base a Silent Hill movie off of, you couldn't have picked a more boring one than Silent Hill 3. But Vincent being turned into a teeny bopper love interest? What? What? Did I actually see that in the trailer?
Because that's a super idea. Super de-duper.
Yeah, can we move on from this boring film now? Because I'm kind of falling asleep now.
Well, here, I was going to say, how about this? All right, absolutely unbiased opinion. Johnny, you just watched a trailer. What are your genuine thoughts about the movie trailer?
I watched it silently, right? No pun intended, because I didn't want it to go super loud. But it looked like a PG-13 movie. It looked like a PG-13 movie version of Silent Hill. I don't know.
I bet it looked like Prometheus.
Does it look like something that you'd be interested in watching?
No, definitely not. Absolutely not in a million years. It's just not my type of thing. I really have to go to the movies to see a really big type of movie, type of thing. It's like Prometheus. I went to see that, and I really loved it at first, and then after about 4 days, it started to sink in. I was like, man, it really needs a sequel or something. But
Dude,
anyways,
I remember your review for that. That was actually pretty cool.
I was pretty excited about it. But after a couple of days. But what did you guys think of Prometheus? Like, after a few days, I just was like, man, there's so many plot holes. And I'm like,
yeah. Well, Prometheus was one of the only situations where I actually came out of the theater thinking it was fucking fantastic. And then, as it sort of started, as I ruminated over the details of the actual fucking plot and stuff, I actually kind of realized... But actually, literally, by the time I had completed my drive home, that I had made a grave fucking error, that it was actually a genuinely bad film.
I was in the same situation. Visually, you can't deny it did look good. the 3D was a bit unnecessary, but other than that, it looked really, really nice. And I felt the same. I thought, well, this is a good movie. And then as it got halfway through, I just watched the Alien films probably a couple of weeks prior, and I was like, yeah, this is a prequel to Aliens. When they've actually said, no, it's not a prequel to Aliens. It's nothing to do with Aliens, but it is. And I thought, for fuck's sake, where's the story in this? Because I was like, yeah, that's going to happen there, and then everything was unlikely, or just like...
See now, and this terrifies me because Johnny, I know you're nearly as obsessed with Blade Runner as I am.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
They have already announced that Ridley Scott's going to try and make a sequel to Blade Runner.
I know.
No.
So, you know what it is? I think some of these directors get a little bit old. They get a little bit senile, and they still think they're in their prime. And we've seen it with George Lucas, the prequels. We've seen it. Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
No, don't mention that.
That's not a film.
Yeah, don't mention that. But the thing that upsets me every time I watch Alien 1 now, one of my favorite films of all time, I will always see the engineer in the chair now. And before it used to be just this amazing mystery. And I think I wanted that mystery answered, but I'm very upset about the answer. I didn't think it'd be some guy in a loincloth, looking like a Jedi type of thing. I'm really disappointed in the engineers a little bit. They're so highly intelligent. Why are they so fucking pissed off for?
There should have been more mystery to it in general.
Yes.
The whole
I
thing
agree.
should have had more mystery. They over-explained. It could have been a story just about them finding this shit and it goes crazy and they never really have an explanation and everybody just one by one dies and whatever, and then it winding up on the planet where they land and find the alien or something. It could have been as simple as that and the fans would have gone home happy. But instead, Damon Lindelof decided, no, I'm a great writer. I can handle explaining all of these niggling details, and he really couldn't. He was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did you know that the captain, the woman on the ship, what's her? I always forget her name.
Charlize Theron.
Thank you so much. They're actually saying that she's actually a robot as well, and Ridley Scott actually let it out of the bag that she was a robot. So I don't know what that is. If there's a sequel, but maybe her character comes back because. They're so strange that she was a robot as well. Because when Ridley Scott was getting interviewed, they said, "Oh, I hear there's a robot in your movie." And he's like, "Actually, there's two." He actually said that at Comic-Con, and everybody forgot about it. I never forgot about that, and so it kind of makes sense. Remember when they wake up and she's doing push-ups right away, and she actually grabs David and slams against the wall, and she refers to Wayland as that it's her father, and that was always a very awkward, stupid scene. I was like. Why? It's like Star Wars. I am your father. You are my father. I really hated that she said that.
It's such a shame too because she was. If that's true, then the two robots in this movie were the only good characters in the entire.
They were better than the real characters.
No, that's what I was going to say. The guy that played David, what a fucking performance! I must admit that was a good performance for what he did. He did seem menacing, but he wasn't.
That goes back to what I was saying. Ridley Scott directed these people well. There was some good acting performances, but Damon Lindelof should be drawn and fucking quartered for writing the script. He ruined everything.
They should stick him in his own surgical machine that he put in that film.
They have to have a sequel because this movie without a sequel is a disaster. It is because it's so all over the place and it doesn't answer anything. And I'm hoping that they're smarter than me. That in the sequel, that all this will be fucking answered. It has to be. I hope so.
Well, that's what. Doesn't that sound familiar though? It's the exact same thing people were thinking when Damon Lindelof was writing Lost. Oh, I hope all these questions have answers. They have answers, but they're goddamn terrible.
Yeah, like how the fat guy on a desert island got fatter.
Anyways, continuing on, we lingered on that too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So am I getting this right? You guys are not excited about this movie?
No.
Okay. Just checking. I wasn't sure.
Like I said, I'd much rather take a power tool and stick it to my temple.
Woo! Which power tool?
Anyway, impact hammer drill.
An impact hammer drill. My God, man, you have a mighty big budget on your show to have an impact hammer drill.
Oh.
Anyway, we're moving on to our next topic. Hey, gang, you're not going to believe this, but Ubisoft producer Jade Raymond said something real fucking stupid.
What
I know this comes as a shock to many.
How fucking stupid.
So stupid that she was stupid. I don't know. I don't have these one-liners ready to go, God damn it. I can tell you about ugly girls. The girl was so ugly. Ooh, was she ugly? How ugly was she? 2 guys broke into her apartment. She yelled rape. They yelled no. All right. Anyway, speaking of Jade Raymond, she has this idea, and I want to quote from an article that I was reading on, I won't tell you where, but she says, I still think one of the huge barriers is the controller when she's responding to what is causing the ailing of the game industry, as we talked about earlier in the podcast. She goes on to say, and even people who played games when it used to be just one big red button and a D-pad can't play games now. She says, there's more.
Wall.
She says you have to... You have to master face buttons, triggers, and they all do different things. Yeah, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
She says, so obviously we're never going to get to that really mass marketplace where we're touching a really broad audience with our messages, among other things, with controllers.
Hey guys,
So Microsoft Connect and other more natural ways to interact with games are incredibly important. I think we can go further.
Hey guys,
I don't even know where to
these
fucking begin on this stupidity train.
Yeah, guys, these television remote controls are really hard, okay? First you got this button to change the channel, then you got all these numbers on there. I don't know what they mean.
Yeah, I went to my grandparents' house and I had to call somebody and they had just, like a phone. And
Man, if my 80-year-old grandpa can figure out the fucking clicker, you can figure out a controller, bitch.
Here's the thing. I want to know if this fucking bitch sat down and typed any of this out, because if she did, I'm pretty sure she had a brain aneurysm, because there's a lot of keys on a fucking keyboard, and she was like, and brain just fucking everywhere.
No,
Holy shit.
I wonder if she are you sure your problem is with buttons, Jade? Or are you sure your problem is that the buttons aren't grafted to David Jaffe's microcock?
Oh
no, the Z trigger has to be somewhere on his sphincter. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
have that back button there.
Sorry, I always have to go back to David Jaffe because I can't believe that fucking Ewok is banging Jade Raymond.
Dude, but
Who
here's
is?
the thing. It
Sorry,
blows
who
my
is
mind.
banging her?
David Jaffe.
The maker of God of War and Twisted Metal.
Oh, I
And it
fucking met
seems-
that guy. I met that guy at PAX.
Seriously, if you've seen David Jaffe's little fuzzy cherubic Ewok face in the same room as Jade Raymond's thoroughly average but no less fucking impregnable lady features, because I would hit it like the fist of an angry god, then you already have proof that there is no God. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll tell you something about him. We went to PAX and he did the opening speech, and man, I felt like this guy's gonna give a good speech, but he went on for like an hour, and I'm looking at Pete Dorr. Pete Dorr's like falling asleep, and we're just like, holy shit, what is this guy talking about? He talked for, I swear to God, like an hour and a half, and went on so many tangents, and he kept saying to the audience, "What was I talking about again?" And then we were just like, never again am I seeing an opening speech by anybody.
He's so
That sounds like a sermon.
Yeah, it was crazy. You had to see it.
I don't.
I wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, she's more than welcome to hop on any tiny dick she likes, but I mean, that's not my problem. It's just that David Jaffe is so filled with shit. Every time he opens his mouth, it's like a Sony infomercial. Constantly. I mean, how the clouds parted, along with other points of entry,
Sorry.
to allow David Jaffe to submerge his little mongoloid microcock in those fucking folds is beyond me.
The only thing I'll give him credit, when we were there, he had a Twisted Metal like little panel thing open, and you could actually, and there was nobody there. I mean, you could go talk to him and give your opinions on what you thought of his games. He's like, yeah, come.
Did that really surprise you?
No, I didn't go up to. I didn't have anything to really say. I wasn't very interested in it. But I gave him credit that he would sit there and say, "Yeah, like come, like talk to me about my game. Tell me what you hate about it. I'll try to make it better." I didn't mind that aspect of him, but he did ramble on. For
Oh
sure.
yeah, well, and I'm sure you're shocked that that panel was completely abandoned, given
It was
the
weird.
fact that Twisted Metal ultimately sold like 2 copies.
I was
And a
standing
half.
there, and I look back. He's right behind me, and I'm like, "There's nobody there." And I felt kind of bad for him. I was like, "Oh wow, that's really weird. Like, where's everybody?" Like, it was
Have you guys ever
interesting.
seen that photo that made the rounds on the internet of Virgil, the wrestler Virgil, sitting at like a
yeah,
kitchen,
wrestling
completely
superstar
alone?
Virgil. Dude, it's depressing, man. I saw that picture and I was just like, wow, that actually made me feel bad inside. I would just go over, give him a fucking beer, and I'd leave. Like, there you go, man.
Oh, so I don't know the picture. What was that?
Oh, this one wrestler, Virgil, I guess he was at like some kind of like convention or whatever. You know, he showed up as a special guest, and I mean, it was literally the most barren area in the entire United States, and it was him sitting there at a table waiting to sign anything or even talk to somebody. Or it was just depressing. It was like one of those things you see in old folks' home, and the one old person who never has anyone visit. Yeah, that's Virgil. So,
I'm seeing it right now. It's a horrible picture.
Oh,
It's a
well,
dude,
horrible
I
pic-
basically just made myself feel bad for what I said, but it's it's a fucking depressing thing. So yeah. Oh, here and back on point. It's funny that she went and said that the thing that's fucking up the gaming industry is buttons, because we were just talking about all the various things that are killing the video game industry at the start of this podcast. So it has nothing to do with the software sales or the companies fucking up or the sequels or oversaturation or anything like that. It has to do with all these motherfucking buttons. Do you see all these? I mean, okay, we got 4 face buttons. Oh, we have a start and
Too much.
selector. Oh my
Way
god,
too much.
triggers and bumper buttons and oh, what the fuck is all this do? They all do something different. Can you believe multiple buttons and each one with its own function?
I can't. handle it.
We're living in a crazy fucking world, people.
Gorsh!
Statements like this is what makes people think that you're a sociopath.
Oh.
Yep.
You clearly have no concept of what is up, what is down, what is black, and what is white.
Yeah.
Which
you could have confirmed just based on the fact that doesn't she has oversight of
Nothing.
the section of Ubisoft Montreal that's making the new Splinter Cell and the new Rainbow Six and what. Just looking at the trailers for those 2 games, you already know she's a fucking retard.
Well, I hope she doesn't spoil Rainbow Six, because that is one of my favorite first-person shooters.
Yeah, well,
don't worry,
I hope
she's
you like
gonna
Call
make it
of Duty because that's what the next one looks like.
It's going to be nothing but Kinect controls, and you know, that'll be awesome. Because here's the thing, everybody, just so you know, according to her, put down the fucking controllers and wave your arms around like you're an absolute fucking asshole in the middle of a mosh pit and drunk off your ass. That's going to be fantastic, and all of a sudden, that's the way to play games. It's overly simplified, and you look like a jackass for doing it. So, yay.
Well, you look like
Fuck
a jackass
buttons.
for buying a fucking Kinect and a move like I did. And yeah, Alpha, you bought a move as well, didn't you?
I have a move.
yes, we all do stupid things. I know.
Yes. Well, you bought a Wii, so.
I did. I bought a Wii. You know,
Yeah,
I'm
I
a fucking
think
retard.
Nintendo-
What can I say?
So did I, for that matter.
We're all dead.
Oh,
See, we're all dead.
we're all-
So anyway, yeah. So if you didn't know it already,
Sorry, I was go right on ahead.
no, I was gonna say Jade Raymond's fucking stupid. Anyway.
There we go.
Yeah, pretty much. In a nutshell, she's a fucking
Yeah.
mongoloid retard.
Anyway,
Yeah.
moving
Raise your
on.
fist. You were gonna say.
Yes, moving on.
Moving
Moving.
on.
Well, see, that's what I thought we were going to. You know what? We're gonna move on to our next piece, and somebody let the fucking cat out of the bag. But we're gonna talk about this anyway. GameStop wants to sell secondhand digital games. How in the fuck does that work? For more, we go to Alpha Omega Sin.
On location.
Oh.
In his bedroom.
Where to begin on this?
Oh,
Okay,
got it.
so here's their bright idea. There was a law passed over in Europe, okay, that allows for any digital item, whatever it is, anything that's digital, okay, that they can resell. So say you go and you get a code for a game, and you go to that website and you input the code and you download the game from their server and you enjoy it like any other random jack-off, or you get the CD key and all that shit. Well, they want to start reselling those now. So they're going to take digital items things that you cannot not physically hold, nothing tangible, nothing to it. There's nothing there, and they are going to sell it as used. Something that you cannot interact with is going to be used. Just like me saying, hey, I found this really sweet item in Minecraft, and I'm going to sell it used. That makes no fucking sense. Hey, do you want this chair that I got in The Sims? Well, it's slightly used. I think my character sat in it maybe 3 times. But I will sell it to you for a low introductory price of only $39.99. That's not a bad fucking deal. And GameStop, and the main reason that they're doing this is because they're like, oh shit, our entire company's a sinking ship because eventually it's going to all be digital one day. And we won't be smart enough to go and sell old back catalog stuff from Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and shit like that. No, we're only going to keep current stock, and then eventually our brick and mortar stores are going to be gone. And this is how we're going to go about things because we are fucking greedy asshole imbeciles.
Well, let's put it this way, right? Consumers don't want us to go in shops anymore. They want us to sit on our asses. Well, not consumers. These fucking companies, will say, want us to sit on our ass, become morbidly obese, order everything with our credit cards on the internet, and that's it. That's all they want us to do. They
want to eliminate every single flake of overhead that could ever be conceivable. Yeah. Okay, that's all they want to do. They don't want to pay employees. Fuck employees. They don't want to pay rent to have an actual store for people to walk into. That's a bunch of bullshit. They don't want to have to pay for anything at all. All they want to do is pay for a server to house all this bullshit and pay for the electricity to keep that motherfucker going. That's all that they want to pay for. And the fact that they have the balls to literally even have this idea, let alone really try to get this in fucking motion, it's not surprising. I mean, this is fucking GameStop. I worked for FuncoLand, which was a subsidiary of fucking GameStop before they went and just swallowed it up. Razorfist worked for fucking GameStop. As a matter of fact, when I first heard this news, it was from Silent Rob, who also worked at GameStop, and all of us have known first fucking hand that they have the most underhanded tactics and could give a shit that you are alive. Fuck the employees, fuck the customers, and this is just another notch in their belt to go and further prove that.
Yep. And we're all tightening our belts.
My problem with that is, my problem with this entire thing is that the entire idea of selling back, of reselling DLC is so fucking abstract. I mean, what's next? We're going to sell people's hopes and dreams? Like this, you're selling air. You're selling air at this point.
Well, that's what it's gonna be like Total Recall, you know. We're not letting you breathe. We're gonna turn off the air.
No, I mean you're reselling air. That's the worst part about it. That's like if I inhale, exhale, and then I tell you to breathe in my air, which is a weird way of making out. But then I'm gonna charge you for that. It's just. It boggles my fucking mind on every single level.
I'm going to start jarring up my fucking farts and sell them on eBay. What do you think?
You know, if you think about it, it's less like Total Recall and more like Minority Report because they're big on the pre-orders.
Oh, yeah. Big on pre-orders that they cancel at the last minute.
I really hope this becomes a reality because just to see it, just to see something, this has to be something like that of, if anybody's ever seen the movie Idiocracy. This is something those people would get in on.
Oh, yeah. But there's one thing I want to know. Are they going to bring down the prices of games? And if they do, what's going to be the return on this fucking digital fucking second-hand market?
That's a very good question. What would they possibly pay? I mean, I'm pretty sure they don't pay you anything for physical media.
No, they don't. Well, let's put it this way, right? A PlayStation Vita is £200 brand new, right? Game and Game Station, if you want to trade that in, it's £90.
Whoa!
Exactly.
£90?
£90. £90 fucking pounds.
Fuck.
Exactly. Right?
God
it is
damn.
It is the best one. A 3DS. Right? Standard value was about 160, 170. £75.
Woo! Shit.
That's a fucking bite off the price if I've ever.
Yeah, I've never swapped. I've never traded in games or traded in hardware because I buy stuff that I like. I'm weird like that, and
wacky idea.
That's fucking insane.
Exactly, and that's exactly what I'm worried about with this whole digital distribution second-hand market that GameStop miraculously wants to introduce.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this right now is exclusive to Europe just because of the law that they passed right now. So this isn't confirmed for anywhere outside of that. Not to say that that makes it any better, but the thing is, at the end of the day, it just makes you wonder exactly what direction is the market really going. As a matter of fact, here, how about this? Johnny, how do you feel about this?
I think in the future, like I think GameStop is really gonna get fucked, and I think they know that, and I think they're all scrambling, thinking, what should we do? Because video games, as we kind of know it, are changing. We've already seen it happen. Actually, my friend who owns Game Deals down the road from me, used video game store, he's been telling me for years. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna go out of business, and I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, because the used video games and games online, stuff like that, it's only gonna be about like downloading games. So like you're gonna like eventually just download all your games onto your systems, as horrible as that is. And we're starting to see that happen. They're doing it very small right now. All the big games, like the big Metal Gear games and all that, they come out on disc. But all the smaller titles, and I bought a lot of the smaller titles, are just download only. I don't have a box. I don't have anything like that. And GameStop is in the future is going to have nothing to sell. And especially with all the rumors that next generation, they're going to, once you buy a game, it's only for that system and you cannot sell it per se because it's linked to that system. Whatever way, they're screwed. GameStop is screwed. Yeah. So I'm really curious going forward what's going to happen to GameStop. I don't have obviously the answers. I'm like you guys, just guessing. And I'm so pissed off at that company. They fucked me so much over the years that I'm angry at them in a way. And it's horrible to say, but I want them to do badly because of all the wrongs they've done to me. All the pre-orders they fucking sold on my ass. When I go in and I ordered it 3 months ahead of time for Rob's birthday, I went in and I said, "Oh, can I get my pre-order bonus?" "Oh no, we gave that away in the first day." I'm like, "But I pre-ordered it 2 months ago."
This kind of shit, man, that's terrible.
Yeah, this kind of shit's happened. Whoa, would you like this? What was it? What the fuck did they give me? Some case for my Game Boy or something? I don't want this case. I said, I was so mad. Anyways, they really bugged me. They really bugged me.
Did they really try and buy you off with new old stock?
What's that?
Did they really try and buy you off like, here's something we don't need, would you like it?
Yeah, they've done that a few times.
We sold the good thing, which was a Castlevania fucking pre-order thing, whatever the fuck, Ruin? I think, yeah, for Ruin or whatever. Oh. But yeah, like that's for Rob's birthday. He's a big Castlevania fan, and I was gonna do. So she tries to give me this fucking shitty ass Metal Gear case from my PSP. That's what it was, and I'm like, I don't want that, and I felt bad because it wasn't the woman who was serving me; it was the policies in place, and I don't want to yell at this woman. I can take it out. I say, "You're a fucking piece of shit. You're this. You're this." But I'm like, it's not her fault. She's following the company what they tell them to do. She didn't make it. That.
So, and I can tell you, you opined earlier that you believe GameStop's going to go out of business, and that they know it, and I can confirm that. Like I said, I've told lots of people. When I was working at GameStop, a manager of mine went to a big convention that they have every single year. That all the managers always get to go to these, big GameStop conventions where you learn how to be a corporate asshole. And basically, he came back and said that he'd talked with the guy who had just been appointed the vice president. Just been promoted. This was in 2007. I assume they've probably gone through 5 more vice presidents since then, but
it's not surprising.
Because seriously, they go through those people like crazy. Mm-hmm. But anyways, so he told me basically that this guy privately confided in him that he knows that GameStop, their run on the top is going to be a short ride. But in the meantime, they have to at least maximize their profit before they hit the skids ultimately.
Well, look at what happened to Game.
Wow. So essentially what we're talking about, we're not talking about usual capitalistic business practices. This is a crash landing. They know it's going to hurt. They're just trying to minimize damage.
Well, look at what happened to Game. It's that's exactly the scenario what GameStop are gonna gonna happen. It happened to Game and Game Station. It could happen to GameStop.
Well, and it all lies within business practices.
Exactly.
I got a question. Where would you guys get your games from Like I don't go to GameStop. I only go there, EB Games up here, if they got pre-order bonuses. That they sucker me in with that shit. I hate them, but I go there. Where would you get your games from? I tended to go to Best Buy now more.
Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
If I'm getting a new game now, I'll go to Amazon because more than likely I'm going to get it for £5 or £6 cheaper than what I'd find it in a game shop, which is sad because I used to like going, you know, when the new games had come out, I'd take in my old games and trade them in and get a decent trading price back then, and actually be able to pick up a new game for what £30 or £40. Now it's like 40 or 50 for a game that's not even fucking 10 hours long.
Dude, I'll tell people till I'm blue in the face, support your local game stores.
Oh,
Yeah,
I do all the time.
That's primarily where I go. There's a retail chain around here called The Exchange. I go there all the time for everything, and that's because they have an insane amount of games, and a lot of people are like, how do you get them for so cheap? I go there because they have lots of games for $1 and $2.50. I can go in there with $25 and leave with a small collection. And,
Easily.
And a small child.
Yeah, well, yeah, sometimes depends on if I pre-ordered it. But
Wait, you know the horrible thing is, I fully agree with you supporting the local game stores. I do with game deals here, but there was a great in Vancouver here, an awesome used video game store, and anybody who's in the Vancouver area will know it. It's called Willow Video Games. And I go there and I got the best deals, I got the best games. I loved it. You know, I heard last week that they're fucking out of business. They went out of business like 3 weeks ago. I didn't even know, and I was like, "That's what I'm." This is the shit that bothers me. They can't keep up either.
yeah,
Even
man,
it's horrible.
See, I wish I had that, because here in the Los Angeles area, it's just a bunch of greedy old fucks who got a small business administration loan, bought up a bunch of shit, and marked it according to eBay.
Yeah.
That's the fucking business model around here.
and
if
eBay
anybody
is
knows,
super accurate.
I wish somebody could argue with me, but you know, that's the way it is down here. So I actually am competing against the game stores and betting against them at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard. It's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Fist, where do you go primarily to pick up your stuff?
Primarily, I just flat out get it off Amazon. I mean, that if I could just recommend to anyone what you should do if you want new games is go to Amazon. A lot of times they have better pre-order bonuses than GameStop.
Yeah.
And a lot of collector's editions, like with Mass Effect 2 and 3, they got an exclusive collector's edition that you couldn't get at GameStop. It's, now mind you, you should actually chop your own cock off and feed it to some rabid fucking wolves before you should ever play Mass Effect 3, in my opinion. But if you have to, if you must have horrendous taste.
If you insist.
Then please do order it off Amazon, because Amazon is much better. And now that they have the thing where you can get it on day one, where it literally ships to your house and you will have the game on day one of release, what is your excuse for not ordering off Amazon?
Yeah,
Well,
just for the UK listeners, try Zavi. Zavi's real good for new games. Or The Hut, which is another company owned by fucking Zavi. Or the other way around, but still, those two stores are really good for that sort of thing. You know, just to support Razor Fist's argument with internet. You know, looking on the internet's better.
Yeah, for Canada, it sucks, honestly. Amazon.ca is terrible. No pre-order bonuses. They don't get a lot of specialty games, like Atlas games. They sometimes do not carry them. So that's why it's really tough in Canada. If I want a game from Amazon.com, they do not ship to Canada. They don't. So I actually have a friend in the States. I have to send it there, and then he sends it to me, and I have to pay him double shipping, kind of thing.
Jesus
so
Christ.
it's real pain in the ass.
Some of that is Canadian content and shipping regulations. It's freaking weird. It's freaking weird. But when I was sending, there's certain issues of I love Heavy Metal magazine. I'm a big
Me
fan.
too. I love that magazine too.
And a lot of heavy metal issues get censored in Canada and can't come over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have a special censored Canadian version of a lot of issues of Heavy Metal magazine. And it's the same way if you try and ship something over to a friend or something and say I was shipping that magazine over to my friend in Canada. It might be seized by customs. They have really, really stringent...
Why? Did they say things that are disparaging to maple leaves or something?
Isn't that crazy? I never knew that about heavy metal because, Kim always goes and gets me the latest heavy metal from, my Max convenience store. And so it's we haven't gone one for a while. There's been no new issue, and I was like, I wonder if that has something to do with it. That's really weird. sucks.
I was going to chime in with the one last thing in addition for everybody to, for their gaming needs if, they don't have too many options. And that's, if there's a game you're interested in, look on the actual publisher's website and see if they are offering it for sale. Because, for instance, we had talked about Ni no Kuni a while back, and I talked about it on my channel too. And they're doing a limited collector's edition to Wizard's Book, and if you pre-order it there and they get X amount of pre-orders, then they add additional stuff at no extra charge of the pre-order. So, the more people are pre-ordered, the more stuff they'll be included, and that's pretty cool. And it's just like a fine example. I got Dead Rising 2 from Capcom's website, and they had a collector's edition that was only sold there. Nintendo, they sell their games on their website. And just check on their websites and everything. You'd be surprised at stuff you'll find and exclusive stuff that you'll find sometimes that aren't sold anywhere else.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I think we've flogged that dead horse.
I was going to say, in conclusion, GameStop, they're a bunch of fuckers. But the good news is they're going away. So, as Al Bundy once said, the good news is life is half over. Anyway, a ways back, we were talking about the Ouya, and everyone was talking about it, and it's the Ouya, and this new thing, and apparently, now Sainted Magnus was saying, I have to talk about this, I have to bring this up, that way he can blubber on about it, so I'm going to let him. Ouya is going to be holding, OnLive is going to be on the Ouya, is that what I understand, Sainted Magnus?
OnLive is going to be on the Ouya from day one, and for those of you that are not in the know about OnLive, it's basically a game streaming service for premium, for actual premium titles, and the odd indie game on there as well. So that's there from day one. Which, yes, it's a subscription service, but it's a subscription service that's actually going to be on hardware, not just what the OnLive box was just a portal to actually access the games. This is actually going to be on the hardware, so it could actually borrow from the Ouya to actually make the games look even better. Also, they're actually porting Final Fantasy III over to the Ouya, and it's the Japanese Super Nintendo version. So,
that's fantastic. That sounds like a great idea. I don't want to rain on anybody's parade too soon, but doesn't it seem like this is already getting a bit big for its britches?
I think so.
I think that it seems like people are treating the Ouya kind of like it's the coming savior that will make all things right. And I don't. Am I crazy, or because I had a discussion with somebody on the HateBit Facebook page. In fact, make sure and like us on Facebook. And yeah, I know. Well, that's what this show's all about.
Not wrong with that.
But we had a discussion about the Ouya, and I had to tell him plain and simple. The Ouya is a buzz, but buzz is talk, and talk is cheap.
You want to know what it is? It's an
What's
Android.
that?
It's an Android tablet that's got a control pad.
That's what I understand. But Johnny, do you have any feelings on this at all?
I don't want to sound like I always like systems from like Sega, Nintendo, Sony, or Microsoft now. I can't believe I'm saying that, even all these years later. But it just feels like a box. So I don't know. It doesn't feel like there's any ownership. Who is this company again? I don't know. I know what it's about, but I'm totally not interested. It's not my thing.
It's some guy in Los Angeles.
I'm not interested.
It sounds like it's full of possibility. It could be something neat. But I think many people far too quickly said, "This is the answer." Maybe after it's been, produced and you tried the fucking thing out, we can arrive at these conclusions. Are we that desperate to return to form? You think so, Rachel Fist?
I think.
I think so.
I think people are that desperate. This is. Well, we can talk about religion for just a minute. This is.
Okay, so you got sexism, racism. Now we're gonna cover religion. Okay, this should be good. Let's kick back and watch the fireworks.
Well, then in that case, we can talk about politics. You notice how when it comes around the election cycle, everyone puts all their eggs in one basket. This guy is the way. This guy. He got in front of some people and he said some stuff, and now this guy is
shit.
Personal things aside, Oh God! Now here comes the racism thing again. All right. Anyway, you know,
How about you just shut up then?
I'm gonna stop. But the Ouya I think is just getting too big on. It's. I don't want to say they're doing it, but it seems like the people who are immediately in favor of this are too busy because they're too high from huffing on their own horse shit.
Well, I'm much.
But it doesn't have online.
Can I defend my
I'm
placement on
attacking you. Please go on.
No, I just want to defend my placement on why I'm actually looking forward to the Ouya. It's something fucking different, and it's not the same shit like, we've got the best graphics, we've got the best this, we've got the best that. It's a games console. That's pure and simple. It's a games console. It's not a games console that plays movies. It's not a games console that plays fucking music. It's not a games console that makes you fucking toast in the morning. It's a games console. Pure and fucking simple. That's why I'm supporting the Ouya.
It could be good for indie developers for sure. That's the
Exactly.
one thing that when I initially heard about it, I was like, well, for like a company of 2 people that have a really good idea for a game, that's a great place for them to put it. And that way, maybe they can get more money, hopefully by putting it on there or something. But how much did it raise with its Kickstarter? How much?
Well, its
millions.
Its initial target was $750,000.
Yeah.
On the last time I checked, it was close. It was just past 5 million.
Holy
Insanity.
That's insane.
Crazy.
But they've.
Does anybody else think this sounds kind of like a Ponzi scheme? I don't.
But the one thing. The
All
one thing.
Kickstarters sound like Ponzi schemes. Just throwing that out there.
Harumph!
But just one thing I want to mention with this whole Ouya thing. When you buy it, it's $100 for a dev kit. You can make games for that system. It's got USB sockets so you can program your own peripherals for the thing. You've got so many options with it. So that's another reason why I'm backing it. It's gonna be good.
Well, wait a second. Can an indie developer, say I was an indie developer, and I want to make this game.
Developer.
You're an indie developer.
That wants to develop this, my personalized game for me. And I put it on the system. Can that indie developer make money off it? Off his or her game?
Yes.
They can.
Yeah.
Is that through a subscription thing?
No, you put it up there.
Or you just download it, you pay money like Xbox Live, and you download
This is
the
exactly
game.
what I was talking about. The goddamn thing doesn't even exist yet. Everyone's already up in arms about it.
It's kind of like the 3DO, the $3 only thing. It's probably like a small fraction, and then whatever else you make. I
was gonna say on the iOS platform, Apple takes a certain percentage from everything. So I'm thinking they either do that or it's just an upfront cost, maybe. That I'm not 100% on, but regardless, it's still pretty cool that anybody could make a game, anybody could upload the game, anybody could make money off the game, assuming people pay for it and want to play it.
Yeah,
so that concept right there is pretty nifty. That it can play games and make games, which is badass.
But
so
I think I'm just gonna try and smash the honey glaze on the top of this, and that is that with it being a dev kit and an open console, it's a jailbroken console from day one. It could it could be manipulated. It could be people could actually try and hack into your Ouya or whatever and use it to get into your home network or whatever. But I hope that doesn't happen. But
see,
it
that's
could
the
happen.
thing. It's so open.
If it's got Android, chances are it has antivirus and anti-malware and that sort of thing.
I really feel like the fact that they went into it with it being jailbroken, very open-ended, is going to be the double-edged sword that is going to fuck it over.
That's exactly my worry.
Because, look at the Android market right now. The Android market, it has a lot of trouble sustaining itself for one main reason, and that's because, it's cool that anybody can put stuff up there and anybody can make money off of it. The downside is that anybody can steal your game, upload it for free. Upload your stuff there and make money off of your work. And the Ouya is open-ended in such a way that the same exact thing can happen again and again and again. And then there's going to come into the fact what happens whenever they start uploading emulators for Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, PS1, and everything. and then you have the big three breathing down their fucking necks of why are you selling our stuff on there? Even if it was just one individual who uploaded it, Ouya as the company allowed for it to happen without any kind of filter to be able to stop it. There's a lot of things that they have to go and think through before they really put this out there, because it could turn around and bite them in the ass, and I wouldn't want to see that happen if it's got the potential that it does.
It's got a lot
misrepresentation of copyrighted material sounds like somebody we know.
Yep. Anyway, moving on.
Continuing on.
Yes, continue. Well, god damn it, I was getting there. Fuck.
Well, get on with it.
Well, if you didn't know this, the
What do you
Hate Bit
think we pay
podcast this week has been brought to you by the Ouya console.
Oh, get on with it.
We're getting them talking about it, goddammit. No, whatever. Do your thing. I hope you enjoy it. Anyway, it's time for halftime. Halftime, where we kind of just bullshit around for a few minutes while I pick things out of the colostomy bag. And one thing I want to plug right now, this is my shameless plug, Saint Magnus.
Shameless plug.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about and something that might interest a happy console gamer because he's a big fan of Las Vegas just like me. But coming up, August the 11th and 12th, 2012. That's this year. If you didn't know, if you're counting on your fingers, there's a big event coming. There's the Classic Gaming Expo in lovely.
What? Where'd you go?
Yellow.
Hello?
Oh shit! I thought everybody else dropped out. Oh fuck! Do it again.
No, go on. Just do it again.
Okay, I'm gonna do it again. Okay. Anyway,
Do it live.
Fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And it's going to be at the Plaza Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. And you should go check it out. You can find more info at cgexpo.com. I will be there myself, representing the Hate Bit podcast. So if you see me, I'll be wearing my fancy Hate Bit shirt, and you can tell me to fuck off. So anyway, on with the colostomy bag.
Can I just add something to that?
Sure. What's
if
that?
there's any fans of mine that hate Yo Chaos, go up to him and kick him in the shin.
That's not very nice, man.
It's okay. I'm just going to hit you with a
gonna
steel
have
chair when I
bruised
see you anyway.
Well, there we go. Anyway, we got a piece of mail at our Gmail box. If you'd like to send us an email, please drop it at hatebitpodcast@gmail.com. Anyway, this piece comes from Enzo241. He says, "Hi guys, congrats on the show. You fucking rocks." Right here.
Last time I checked, I was skin and bone. I wasn't a rock, so.
There you go. He says, anyways, what's your favorite video game of 2012 to date? Mine is Max Payne 3. It's a fantastic game. Razor Fist, you will like this game or love this game a lot. Anyways, have a good day, the French-Canadian bastard Enzo241. But he spells Canadian Canadian. I thought the French-Canadians put an E in there.
No, he spelled right.
Spell right.
Okay.
Canadian.
Favorite video game of 2012? Go!
Oh,
Saint
fuck.
Magnus.
My favourite game of 2012 is not a game that I played in 2012. To be quite frank, because I've not bought any games from 2012 because they've all been fucking crap. There we go.
Oh, well, that's just very uplifting.
Yeah.
Happy console.
Actually, I'll take that back. I'll take that back. Resident Evil Revelations on the 3DS.
There you go.
Fuck. I don't know what I can say for this year so far. I was still stuck in Skyrim from last year. I was thinking Skyrim because that was like my game of the year 2011 now, but we're in 2012. You put me on the spot. I have no answer right now.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's all right. You don't have to answer. We're not going to put bamboo shoots up your fingernails. Razor Fist.
For me, Silent Hill Downpour.
Alpha Omega Sin? Oh, so
Holy shit. I
no,
suck
no.
at
Go ahead.
remembering. Wait, Razor Fist, what?
No, go right on ahead.
I was gonna say I couldn't figure out one, so I'll just go with the last game that I played and I was very happy with, and that's Lollipop Chainsaw. Fuck yeah.
I was gonna say that, but I couldn't say that for my game of the year. It's a game I liked. It was the last game that I played too.
See, it's not my game of the year, but it's a game that I like a whole bunch. And if anybody is listening, fuck all the reviews and fuck all that bullshit. Play the game. It's a lot of fun. You got two motherfuckers right now. Me and Happy Console Gamer saying it's pretty damn good.
You know what? My review of it I would say that don't buy it at full price, but definitely buy it when it drops a little bit in price. You'll
like Azura's Wrath, really. Don't buy it full price. Buy it when it drops in price, which it hasn't.
Here's the thing. It's not a very long game. You can seriously bust through it in like 5 to 6 hours, but you know it's definitely it's a beat 'em up style hack and slash game. where you were normally going to go through those kind of games without much effort or time being consumed, and it's worth multiple playthroughs. It's a lot of fun. It's entertaining as shit. I mean, Suda 51 is tied into it. That automatically gets a fucking nod from me.
It's wild. It's wild. Some of that story
yeah.
shit in there. But what did you think of? It's not a spoiler. It's to do the last boss. That quick time event at the end. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I
I
must
was
have done that like 6 times. It just drove me nuts.
my thing is like I think all QTE is fucking lazy. But the thing is, so long as they don't put it in such a way where it's like, I don't know, Asura's Wrath, and the entire game becomes a QuickTime event when it wasn't supposed to be a big QuickTime event. I don't really mind, and I'll just wade through it. And I'm hoping that RE6 doesn't go and suffer the same goddamn fate.
I think it already is.
Isn't that sad? That's all we do.
Dude,
is
you have no idea, man. That seeing all that shit and some of the footage, they were like, all right, over the top action scenes that you would have seen in like Degeneration, the all CG movie and everything. But you're just pressing buttons along with it, and it's even ironic when people try to defend it. They're like, yeah, but that makes the movie scenes that much more like interactive, and I'm like, but that's not really interacting. You're not really interacting. You're pressing a fucking button, just a singular button when it shows up on screen, and you know what ends up happening? You're not paying attention to what's actually happening on screen, so you miss a bunch of stuff because you're just worried about hitting something at the right time. So fuck all that noise.
Yep.
But Lollipop Chainsaw, play it, yeah.
There you go.
Yo,
Here, fuck it. I'll throw.
Allow me to offer the counterpoint to the Happy Console Gamer and Alpha. I think it's a piece of shit, and you shouldn't play it. That's just me.
Yeah.
I will add a counterpoint to Razor Fist.
Oh god.
My counterpoint to Razor Fist is he's a big stinky head, and Lego Batman 2. Lego Batman 2 it is fucking awesome. If you think that it's just a little kid's game, it is not. It is fucking fun. It's awesome. It's the best Lego game they ever made, and it's cool. That's what I'm playing right now. So yeah, check that out. And Razor Fist can't even argue with that. Can you?
Hey, I like me some Lego games. I do like the Lego.
Ha! There we go.
Right, get on.
But no, genuinely.
Yo, Chaos, your turn. Come on.
I'll say the saddest part for me is I had to sit here and think about it and think about it and think about it. And the best game that I played in 2012 was Mario Tennis Open.
There we go. Right, Mario Tennis Open.
This hurts to say.
What's it like? Is it good? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it terrible? What? Come on.
No, it's a great game, absolutely. If you've played a Mario Tennis game and you liked it, you'll fucking love this one. It's absolutely. I mean, it is a little repetitive, and but it's a great game overall. And I get my ass handed to me. I mean, I was ruling. I was ruling. I was kicking ass in all the cups because it's essentially Mario Kart with tennis. And then I got onto multiplayer, and holy fuck, these cats from Japan just blow you out of the water in like 2.3 seconds.
Well, they have nothing better to do.
Well, I mean, that's also, I guess, the radiation must be a, enhancing drug. Anyway.
What?
Sorry.
You know what we need to do? We need to do the video game circle jerk. What do you think?
We'll do that when we come back. Guys, if you didn't know, and I wasn't supposed to tell you, but I'm going to tell you anyway, you are listening to the season finale of the Hate Bit Podcast, season number 1.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, that was pretty ballsy, ending the season with a guest, wouldn't you say? But, we'll be back. We're going to take our summer vacation, and we'll be back. When are we going to be back, Sainted Magnus?
Blah, blah, blah. Well, the week after.
Later.
The week after your...
That's right. That's
trip,
right.
so.
We'll be going to be gone for 2 weeks, and you guys, if you miss us, we're terribly sorry. But you can also find us at our individual YouTube channels, and you'll find those in the space provided down below, a little drop-down box there.
No, I'm
please,
taking a break from that as well.
Well, you're Sainted Magnus taking a break, but drop them a line, say hello, and all that good old shit, or you can tell them to fuck off. I don't care. Anyway, we got another piece of mail here before we get moving on with the rest of the podcast. This one comes from Critical Palette, and Critical Palette says, oh, by the way, he dropped us a line at our inbox at YouTube. And he says, my question is about Let's Plays and gameplay commentaries that seem to be flooding on YouTube. I remember in an earlier podcast, you guys mentioned AVGN clones, and at one time, everybody tried to be an AVGN clone. Now it seems that the new thing is Let's Plays and commentaries. Just wanted to know what you guys think about this. Now, there is nothing wrong with watching... I thought that was it. There's nothing wrong with watching gameplay videos, but you have people that watch 40-part videos of Grand Theft Auto missions, and the uploader can make thousands of dollars off ad revenue. I didn't know about that. It seems people would rather watch someone play a video game than actually play the game themselves. And for commentaries, it's people talking while playing a first-person shooter game, and getting more popular for commentary is the game Minecraft. Just not sure why people watch them. Sorry for the long question, and again, love the podcast.
There was a question in there somewhere, was there? Right.
Yeah.
Let me just put Let's Plays to bed in I don't know, one fucking word. Boring.
And for the most part, that they are. But there's one guy that I subscribe to. I think he's called Unplayed a thing, and he, and usually I hate, people playing video games and people talking over it in a microphone. It kind of bores me. But this guy he tells you so much interesting shit about the game, and he's so interesting that he is like, I've been subscribed to him for like, I think about 4 or 5 years now. He's just awesome. So I think it depends on who does it. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you get some little kid going, hey, play this level, look at this, holy fuck, wow, let me do that. I did a big jump. You want to fucking kill somebody. But anybody who's intelligent and is doing it well, it can be a good thing. And I guess there's an audience there for that too, for sure. Well,
it's like with anything. It's just like with reviewing. It doesn't matter if someone's an AVGN clone as long as they have some charisma and they have some other spin on it. You know what I mean? As long as there's personality, it's okay. As long as you're talented, it's okay. This is why I would suggest Let's Plays have propagated to the degree that they have. Because like no other form of gaming entertainment, these require little to no talent. I mean, you really just have to talk over the game while you're playing. And some people do that anyways, even if they're not entertaining. You know what I mean? So that's why it's begun to propagate. It's as simple as that. People want to be internet famous. They don't want to have talent to do it.
Yeah. Nintendo shit cube. I had to throw that in.
No, that man is the greatest reviewer in the history of internet reviewers, and everyone should attempt to emulate him.
He's even better than you.
Yes, he is the greatest reviewer that can't get out of his chair. That's dedication.
That is dedication.
He's the William Howard Taft of video game reviewers. Yes.
I want to eat the Nintendo shit cube.
Not even Roosevelt. You went straight to Taft. Very good. Very good.
They say it takes a big man to admit when he's wrong. So what's Jim Sterling's excuse?
The one that was with Winston Churchill.
Hey, Winston Churchill was a great prime minister for this country.
Oh, he was fantastic. I've noticed all your politicians. They want to emulate Churchill. Not so much his politics, but definitely his physique.
All the fat cats. They want all our fucking money and don't give us any back. And
stop saying that they're going to come get us, man.
They put the taxes up, and then they put this up, and they put that up, and then they put the cost of living up, and they don't put the monies up to help us out with that. They don't put our wages up, and we're like, yeah, we're fucked.
It's a good thing we don't have that problem in North America.
No, I know. You've got Obama spending all your money on fucking.
Anyway. Anyway, Razorfist has a date with the Hellhound pretty soon, so we got to get moving on with the rest of the show. If you have any questions,
I'm killing him with a sledgehammer. So
there you go. See, we got a lot going on. So drop us a line down below in the inbox, Facebook, and at gmail.com, and you'll find all those links, as I said before, down below. And now, I've been wanting to talk about this one since we started. You're not going to believe this, but BioWare, BioWare. They said something stupid. BioWare, the video game maker called Forbes, the money people in the, world, called Forbes magazine professional trolls. And wow. So before we go to Razorfist, because he's going to tell you all about it.
Well, I think first we have to set the stage because we have to talk about why they said this.
Oh, yes, because of the article in Forbes magazine, the 5 reasons why he is in decline.
Yes, the Forbes magazine posted an article and put it online discussing essentially 4 or 5 reasons? 5, I think it was 5 reasons. 5 reasons why Electronic Arts is in decline. And this was posted and made the rounds certainly on the BioWare forums, especially on the Star Wars The Old Republic forums, because one of the very first things they allege in this article is that Star Wars The Old Republic was a massive failure, and that Electronic Arts is trying to shield their shareholders from how massive a failure it really was, and not really admitting how bad of a mistake it was. And so, which they just threw some numbers out there. They said that apparently the game had around a $200 million budget. A $200 million advertising budget, an advertising campaign. That coupled with what EA has already admitted was around a $300 million development. So $500 million down the tube, an audience that has now shrunk to below 1 million users. And they just announced this past week they are in fact going free to play.
Wow. Many transactions.
If you really look at that... Oh, I'm sorry, go on.
As soon as this article, of course, was posted on the BioWare forums, a number of BioWare employees, including moderators like Stanley Wu...
Woo!
End of the line! Anyways, so he basically came in... A bunch of them came in there, and one of them even went so far as to call Forbes professional trolls. Forbes magazine, folks. This is not Destructoid trolling for ad revenue. This is not the Escapist looking for a headline so they can increase Yahtzee's fucking, ad revenue. This is, at the end of the day, this is Forbes magazine. It's their job to analyze business trends. And when they did it, BioWare tucked their head between their legs and called them professional trolls. So, amazing.
Huh. That's amazing.
I would just like to say really quickly about the Old Republic and how you said there's less than 1 million users.
Well, they claim that they are over 1 million users, but when you factor in, and Forbes magazine made this point, when you factor in the number of dead accounts and accounts that are just kind of they're hanging in there until their trial period is up or until their subscription runs out. It's well below 1 million.
See, now think about that. You realize they would have had the exact same result if they just waited and then paid all those people $200.
That's true. Fucking bonkers.
That's fucking insane.
Bring back Star Wars Galaxies. That's all I can say. Sony, take it over again and get it to actually fucking run.
That game was actually good. It really didn't get a fair shake with Star Wars Galaxies.
I heard they changed the combat and it pissed everybody off.
Yeah, they changed
that was the big problem.
But...
And they made some really stupid decisions. Like, people were complaining that becoming a Jedi was too hard to do. And so they were like, well, now you can just be a Jedi from the very beginning, basically. They
simplified it 3 times, and then they actually made it so it was 9 initial classes with everything you wanted skill-wise you had to do as normal, like with the holocrons and stuff like that. Because it used to be, with to become a Jedi, you used to have to do every single skill tree and get the holocrons. It was grinding for experience for close to 9 or 10 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just to get all the holocrons. Then you had to go and find the Jedi trainer to actually learn the Jedi skill, and you had to do it all again. It was like prestiging on Call of Duty.
Wow.
Yeah, it was way too much of a grind. I can't argue with that, but I think they could have made it easier without making it so preposterously easy. And literally just clicking a button, okay, now I'm a Jedi. I don't think it should have been that easy. I think
that must have pissed off all the people who were Jedis, who'd done all that work.
It did, because these people they'd sunk so many hours into this game to become a Jedi, and it felt like a genuine accomplishment, and I think that's a good thing. I think it should have felt like an accomplishment to be a Jedi, which, by the way, is one of the reasons the Old Republic sucks, because it makes the same mistake Star Wars Galaxies did.
Well, you can be a bounty hunter, you can be a commando, you can be this, you can be that, from day fucking one, which I think when I played it, I went the bounty hunter route. I learned carbines, because carbines were a good medium-range weapon. They could be used at short range and long range and all that good sort of stuff. And you just develop the character to become a decent bloody... decent bounty hunter. And that's what I liked about Star Wars Galaxies as an MMO. Now, since then, I've not played any decent MMOs because they've all been fucking shit. Even World of Warcraft, I don't find any enjoyment out of playing that. But I miss the idea of the technical game. It felt.
Yeah,
Go on.
it was a great game, and I think it should have had more of a fair shake. But
Yeah.
the Old
Well, but-
Republic, fuck away.
But getting back on top.
But continuing on, this is actually a very compelling article that I've trying to piece together over the last day or so because I've been kind of a busy cat. But he makes some really good points, and I just want to bring up a few. That way we can talk amongst ourselves. Number 3 on the list of reasons why EA is in decline. He says Mass Effect 3's controversies lost many hearts and minds. Now, Razorfist, how do you feel about that?
Oh, in fucking deed. I mean, I think the way they responded to the Mass Effect 3 controversy more than anything, essentially sticking their noses in the air and saying, "You're wrong. This is our little work of art and whatever." And by the way, people like Jim Sterling and Yahtzee, they went along with that nonsense because that's the new big en vogue trend. If you're like a pundit in the video game industry, is to take the side of the developers because the audiences are the unwashed, stupid masses now. They're like pariahs, They can't have a viable opinion. Even if the ending is bad, they should have stuck to it because art and all that. Yeah. But anyways, I think really their reaction to the Mass Effect 3 controversy was more than anything was what did that to them, because it was like the perception was, "Shut up, you're wrong." Was basically their response to it. And now they're going back on that and giving us, they gave us the DLC ending, so they wind up completely contradicting themselves, and that definitely hurt them. And more than that, I think the game itself had some fundamental design flaws beyond the fucking ending, but that's just me.
Yeah, Jessica Chobot in the game, for example.
Oh Christ, she had no. Her entire role in the game was you could see her naked if you wanted to. That was basically the whole point. Like literally, she wasn't a member of your squad. She hung out in a room the entire game, and you could occasionally talk to her. And I do mean occasionally, like 3 entire times the whole game. And she never was woven into the core narrative. She had nothing interesting or valuable to communicate throughout the entire game.
But
Eventually, she conducts an interview with you. And that's as close as she comes to becoming almost relevant in Mass Effect 3. She was so obviously shoehorned in so that IGN could give them that 9.75 score they so rightly earned.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Yeah. So, what's the 4th point?
Well, the 4th point is saying that EA is constantly losing the PR war, and we,
That's fucking
as a PR professional myself, fuck yes. We don't even need to discuss that. Our entire show has been about EA losing the PR war.
Yeah.
But number 5, let's jump to number 5, which I found very, very intriguing. He says they may be jumping into the social gaming pool as the water is draining out. Now, I've only recently understood what social gaming is because I thought that's just one of those things that people do to annoy you on social networking sites. But turns out that there's money to be made in this. He talks about, he believes the guy who wrote this article, Paul Tassi. Paul Tassi believes that there's a social gaming bubble just waiting to burst. Now, how big is social gaming? Because I don't think I'm understanding how big this thing is.
Have you played any of the Facebook games?
No, they're fucking annoying.
Well, take a look at one of them called Marvel Avengers Alliance.
I swear to you, man, I get these things like someone from some guy requested you in Sim City, whatever. It's like, I unfriend those people.
Yeah,
I unfriend those people. It's like, fuck you, you're an idiot. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Well, can I just get my point across, right?
I'm sorry, please go.
You get those,
go
right?
on.
Now they say, oh, you can play these games for free. Well, how do you get better stuff? You pay money to get gold bars, so you can buy this special ray gun that actually makes the gun a little bit easier. But there's a catch-22 with that whole thing. If you play that game for free, you will not advance any further, any quicker, in any way, shape, or form. You get stuck in the bottom corner. So the whole social thing, because it's on a social media site, they charge you to get the good content, and that's where this whole mini transactions thing comes in.
Oh,
so
it's a bit like was it Mega Man 10? I loved Mega Man 9. Let me just say that up front, but the fact that they removed the dash, the slide that had been in the series since
yeah,
Mega Man 2 or 3, whenever they first
make it more authentic.
Yeah, so they removed the slide. It's like, what? Like that's a modern edition. It's been in the series since 1992, you know?
Yeah.
But so they did that, and then they sold it to you as a Proto Man bit of DLC. It's like, thanks, asshole. I appreciate it.
That's exactly right.
That is incredibly doucherific.
I was gonna say, Johnny, how do you feel about? Because you're on Facebook. Have you dabbled into any of the, or let me say this: have you gotten suckered into any of the social gaming?
I don't want to say anything, but I got a few people on Facebook, and I get so many invites, and I look at all these games like Horse Moo game, and like I just like, what is this shit? What is this crap? And
these are not games.
They're not an interest of mine. I'm a console or handheld gamer. I don't want to play games on Facebook. I don't want to annoy anybody. I don't want to Alpha Omega, please join me in my field in Moo Moo Garden. Please come and plant some trees there and fuck my horses and cows. For me. Actually, that's a game I would play. Fuck.
It's kind of funny though, because whenever Farmville was blowing up real fucking big, and like everybody was talking about it, like it was even on TV at random for whatever reason. Everybody was talking about this, and I was like, and I had mentioned this earlier when we were talking about, the ladies. It's just like, has any of these motherfuckers heard of Harvest Moon? Harvest Moon has been doing this since, 1993? I can't remember when the first one came out.
More recently.
Yeah, but that's on Nintendo, and that's for kiddies.
Yeah, my fucking ass. Dude, it's a fucking farming game. A farming game.
It's like 2 is another one like that.
Yeah, I don't get it. And you know what's fucked up about most of these little like social gaming bullshits is whether or not it has microtransactions. I could give a fuck less because they would never get my money. They could come to my house and have me at gunpoint, and they'd be putting a fucking bullet in my head. But the thing that pisses me off is a lot of them are just based off of how many friends you have. So you'll be adding people on Facebook and just making Facebook a horrendous place to ever venture to, just because you want to make sure that you're the highest level, or your kingdom is the biggest, or your farm is the biggest, your crops are the highest, and your dick is suddenly the longest. And at the end of the day, it all blows. It does.
Yeah, nobody cares. You're not gonna impress anybody.
Yeah.
What it all boils down to is you fucking cretins should stick to words with friends. Get out of my face.
There we go. I think we've kind of.
Anyway, I want to wrap this up because I think this last paragraph of the article is I think really validates us as a podcast, and I want you to hear it. This came from Mr. Paul Tallis of Forbes Magazine. Forbes Magazine said this. He said, "It simply hasn't been EA's year for a number of reasons. 5 if you've been counting." He goes on to say, to right this ship, they need to put their focus back onto their customers, the ones paying their bills, and worry less about digital rights management, downloadable content, ship dates, or anything else that will make a few bucks at the expense of consumer goodwill. End of article.
That's what we've been saying for, since show fucking 1?
And on our individual channels for years.
Well, yeah.
And that's what we've been saying about every single publisher and developer for years.
Will the advice be heeded? Will anybody heed this advice?
Probably
not.
I'd like to bet my bottom dollar and say, no, they fucking won't. They won't listen to us. They never will.
Oh, well, BioWare are fucking morons. EA are fucking morons. We knew that already. So,
look what EA did. They had a really good franchise with the Saboteur, and what did? They closed the studio before the game's fucking released.
Oh yeah,
and it was a great game. Is this gonna have to be on the front page of the fucking Wall Street Journal before they understand that trouble?
No, they won't get the point until their ship is sinking, and this is the only life preserver that's left for them to go and grab onto to be able to remain relevant.
Well, let's just say EA is gonna sink like the fucking Titanic. End of story.
It won't happen for a long time, I'll tell you that. They're a big fucking company, but if shit continues the way that it is with all the dumbass choices that they're making, and there are plenty, then yeah, it's going to be an inevitability.
Yep.
You know what the worst part of this whole thing is that all they have to do is be nice. Just be nice to us.
I know.
Be nice to us and all your problems will go away.
Anyway, I think we should move on. This is getting way too...
I know, now we're all depressed and everything. Anyway, you know what? It's time. We haven't done one of these in a while. It's time for your hate bit retrospective, and we're just gonna get really nostalgia sauce all over the place. We're gonna talk about
Pass the lotion.
the big one, Final Fantasy. Happy console gamer, how do you feel about Final Fantasy?
I've never heard of this game. Is this like some new game coming out next year from EA?
I think it just came out recently. It's supposed to be the next big first-person shooter or some shit. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
fuck. What can I say? I like Final Fantasy, but I was talking to a guy at work, and we summed it up really well. Is that, let's see, Final Fantasy 7, I loved it. I'm not going to, all the earlier games before that I loved. 7, I really liked. 8, I really liked. 9, I really liked. 10 started to lose me. The reason why it started to lose me was the world map. And never mind Titus. Is somebody want to do that laugh?
Ha 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 ha.
Oh, man. Yeah, Final Fantasy X started to drop me that way. I didn't like that I didn't have as much freedom to go where I wanted in the world. That was Final Fantasy to me.
Linear.
Yeah,
It's
that's the beginning for me.
It's the
Now, did it
precursor
make
to
you
Final
mad?
Fantasy.
Did it also, because it contributed to my hatred for Final Fantasy X, the fact that Final Fantasy X wasn't content with ruining the Final Fantasy series, it continued and ruined the Lord of the Rings series by lending its engine to Lord of the Rings: The Third Age, one of the worst RPGs I've ever played in my life.
I haven't played it, no.
Oh, it's the same exact engine.
Really?
It's got the completely linear, the exact same idea.
Oh, that
The
sucks.
soundtrack's cool though.
It was too bad, but I had hope. I was like, okay, maybe this is just a weird Final Fantasy game. But I did finish it, and there are aspects of Final Fantasy X that I liked. 11 online, I was addicted to. I didn't have a job at the time. I did 12 hours a day for 3 months.
Jesus!
It was just, yeah, I was really fucked up with that. I finally broke my addiction to that by drinking a lot of beer for a week. Honestly, I couldn't get off that game. It was so bad. I finally get off that game. A couple of years later, we get Final Fantasy 12, and I gotta say, I've never finished the game, but I love the game. I love Final Fantasy 12. It's so good in so many ways. It's so, there's so much freedom in that game. It's like an MMO. It's great, but it's a little overwhelming. I just hated it. It was so hard to level up all the characters. I was like, oh man, this is gonna take forever. And I was like 30 hours in. I was like, man, I'm never gonna get to finish this game, but I like it. 13. I'll say lost me. It lost me. The linearity, my God, like when I looked at the first map and I was like, it's a straight line. I'm like, no. And I'm oh well, the second map must be different. I'm like, it's a straight line. I'm like,
Oh,
and I started to go, oh my God, like, yeah, the chest was on the side of the, of this long hallway. That was all the watch of the exploration. And I like, for me, Final Fantasy is exploration. And when they take that away from me, it's not Final Fantasy. When they take away the win, the fanfare music when you win, not Final Fantasy. It just felt like a Star Ocean game. You know what I mean? They could have called that game Star Ocean X, and I would have like it didn't feel like a Final Fantasy game to me. But I'm really hoping that 15, Final Fantasy 14 was a disaster. Maybe they fixed that. I'd love to go back to that. But 15, I'm hearing some exciting things that they're looking at a world environment like Skyrim. They're looking at the cities are going to be like crowded like Assassin's Creed, so that's exciting. But that's my take on Final Fantasy. There you go.
What did you think about 13 too? I felt
didn't
like
even
the
care.
game was a slight step in the right direction.
You know what? After 13, I just was like, I'm done. And that's weird for me. Even Pete Doer's like, whatever. He's like, of course you're gonna buy it. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy it. I just didn't feel it. I didn't have the exploration. I want that awesome feeling, and that's what I got with Skyrim, and that's why I connected to that game so much.
You know
more.
what?
Like,
And
I like the
the
exploration.
sales for 13.2 definitely showed that a lot of fans were disgusted, and this isn't a dig at the game at all.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much giving you an example, and anybody can look it up if they want to who's listening. But if you look at the sales for 13.2 by comparison to the initial sales for 13, it is a dramatic difference.
It is,
a
yeah.
dramatic difference, and it just shows that a lot of people were not that invested, not that enthused, and not that happy with it. And I know, I mean, all of us are Final Fantasy veterans. There from the beginning all the way up to current.
Definitely.
And I didn't like the game. I know people that do like the game. I'm not going to go and take pot shots at it, but
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
It's
I
just-
just kind of it wasn't my thing. I like anybody who enjoyed it. That's fucking awesome. Why do I want to shit on somebody else's enjoyment of a game? That's a great thing that they enjoyed it. I was sad that I didn't enjoy it. I was mad at me. I'm like, what the fuck? Why am I not liking this?
Dude,
Yeah.
I actually felt kind of the same way because it's one of those things. I played it and I was just like, why am I not having as much fun? Why don't I like these characters? Why?
You were mad with yourself?
Dude,
Man,
I'm not
you
even
aim
kidding,
that
man.
rage at Squeenix.
Here's the thing, man. It's one of those things like, it's kind of like, okay, for example, Resident Evil 5. I wanted to like the game a whole lot the entire time, but I was just like, why is this a pile of shit?
Yeah,
like,
I know.
why? That's all I kept on thinking. I'm like, you're supposed to be so good. There was so much build up to this, and this is all I'm getting. It's like, I want to like you just based off of fucking past merit alone.
I know.
You came out swinging with nothing. Now I'm sitting there like many other fucking fans, cross my fingers and hoping Versus is going to pretty much right the ship. And
yeah.
in 15, I mean, that again, I hope that will be able to do it. It sucks. It's where it's at.
Well, I can safely say 15, I'm not holding my breath. Versus 13, I fucking lost interest when they decided that 6 years ago we'll announce it, and then we'll announce Final Fantasy 13. They released Final Fantasy 13, which was dull. Then they released 13.2, which, to be quite honest, I have zero interest in. 15, not interested. 14, not interested because I don't like MMOs anymore. Going back to where I started with Final Fantasy, well, Final Fantasy 7, as a lot of people say, is the first RPG, which it was my first RPG, but it's not my favorite.
You're part of that generation. There's a whole generation of people that started role-playing games because of Final Fantasy 7.
Well, I started role-playing games with Final Fantasy 7, but I went back. I didn't go forward, so I played like Phantasy Star, and my favorite one to date is Final Fantasy 4. On the PSP. It's a really good version. It's a really good game. Its stories is engrossing. The characters are not as fucking depressing as as the current
the girly men.
Oh
yeah.
Going back and playing Final Fantasy, if you started on 7, there's not really as much of a stigma of like you didn't pay your dues or whatever, because if I remember correctly, didn't they release the Final Fantasy anthology just a couple years after 7?
Yes, they did.
They also released Chronicles and then Origins.
Yeah, and then
right
after 7, they released Tactics, which in my opinion is the best in the series.
Yeah, well, over here we got Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy Anthology, but that had 4 and 5 in it, not 5 and 6 like you guys got. We didn't get the Chronicles because we got Final Fantasy VI as a separate release. I think, we got Tactics as well.
England always got screwed for video game releases, eh? That's
for years we got screwed on special editions and game releases and stuff like that. That's why it annoys me when some people go on YouTube and say, "Oh, the UK are getting this special edition, and the US are not getting it." And we're like, "Oh, for fuck's sake, grow up!"
It's about time that England got something.
Stop
honestly,
moaning. Give us a fucking bone.
Yeah, I lived in England in 1995, and I was hanging out with actually there was like back then, it was before the internet. Honestly, there was fanzines for video games and role-playing games, and I got in touch with all these people. Pen pals, you did. Oh my god. But I actually hung out with these guys at a convention, and they told me all the shit they had to do to play Final Fantasy games in England. It was a major bitch, getting your systems modded and all this fucking work that they had to do just to play. Because they weren't released over there. Like Final Fantasy VI wasn't officially released. Am I correct about that? It's a long time ago for me, Bob.
We didn't get Final Fantasy VI until, 2002?
That's right. You wanted to.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that is fucking horrible.
Those were very different times. So England does deserve a little bit more. And I remember walking into video game stores in England back then. I was like, this is just horrible. Like, there was nothing. I remember I'd look, and there was, like, Starwing, which was Star Fox. And, was it Hero Turtles, not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, Hero Turtles, not Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, it was really a weird. I was like, man, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone in England. I remember thinking that. I love England. I was born there, but I was like,
now,
yeah.
am I wrong? Does it not feel like Australia and Britain changed places?
Yes.
Like
Oh,
on
yeah.
the
Australia
video game-
gets screwed royally
Oh,
with their games.
Man, I
But-
feel so bad for Australian gamers because it's just like their games cost 3 times as much, and it's
insane.
like they'll get them heavily
100
censored.
Australian dollars for the game.
It's insane.
Yeah, but just
Yeah.
just to put things into perspective of how bad game releases are over here, take Chrono Trigger. Right, Chrono Trigger got the original SNES release, then it got the Final Fantasy Chronicles release in what 97, 98. We didn't get a release until the Nintendo DS in about 2008 or 9, I think it was. So
Crazy.
that's like 13, 14 years after the fucking game was originally released.
And that's a long time for one of the world's best RPGs. And
It really is.
I'll
yeah.
fucking argue any motherfucker that even tries to dismiss Chrono Trigger's amazingness because fuck all, that game.
Has
just
anybody
fucking-
ever? I've never heard anybody who has.
I've come across a couple people that were just like, yeah, it's kind of overrated. And I was just like, there's a reason it's overrated. It's
Because
fucking
it's
legendary.
fucking good. That's why.
Like if you've
I
played
want
the
that game. I want that
It's-
game on a cartridge so I can play it on a proper Super Nintendo and actually love the fucking game.
Well,
It's a
you know what?
wonderful
Since we're talking about Final Fantasy, and this I thought would be kind of a cool question. As a matter of fact, anybody who's listening right now, you can also chime in with your picks on this. But as far as Final Fantasy goes, what is your favorite generation of Final Fantasy? Is it Nintendo, Super Nintendo, PS1, PS2, or modern right now?
I'd say PSP. The PSP version of Final Fantasy IV is fantastic. You've got, what, a close to 100-hour fucking story in total. I'm happy with that.
I'd say, oh my god, that's tough. I'd have to say maybe PS1 because you get 7, 8, and 9. Those were really
Yeah.
good. Super Nintendo though, fuck. I'm so, my rose-colored, glasses for the past. The Final Fantasy 6 and 3 were just 2 were just fucking fantastic. I love those. So.
Razor
I
Fist?
think I'll say up front, I'm not a Final Fantasy fanboy at all. I don't really care for the series, but it's kind of hard because on the one hand, PS1 had, in my opinion, the best Final Fantasy game ever, Final Fantasy Tactics. But on the other hand, I think 8 was shit. I'm not a big fan of 9, and I definitely think 7 is an overrated pile of shit. But so maybe I'd have to go either Super Nintendo or NES. That would probably be the way I'd go. I don't know. Could throw a dart because I really don't give a fuck.
So
Well, I was gonna say,
we'll say a mingle of the first 6 games then.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
There we go then. No, that's kind of covered it. Yo, Chaos. What about you, matey?
Oh, dude, his I know his.
Well,
He played FF7.
Well, I did, but before the podcast, I told everybody, this is just the part where I'll come in and occasionally say fuck and shit and piss. So I'm here to tell you, fuck, shit, and piss, and that's all I have to say.
Okay, what about in RPGs of those eras then? What would you say would?
Well, I'm gonna go for it's never really been my thing. I'll be perfectly honest with you. But if I went over to my friend's house with Super Nintendo and says, "Hey, I'm gonna play Final Fantasy," I'm like, "All right," and then I'd get some beer.
Fair enough. There we go. That's kind of covered it. What about you, Alpha?
It's between PS1 and SNES because on one hand I have Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy VI, and on PS1 I have 7, 8, 9, and Tactics.
Yeah.
And
one, 2, 4,
well,
5, 6.
this didn't actually premiere on there. That's why I don't initially count them. But I don't know. I guess I would have to lean towards PS1 overall as like my favorite contender for it. As much as I'd love 4 and 6, I mean Squaresoft blew the fuck up on PS1. And for good reason. I mean, they just blew up with a ton of amazing titles. And, Razor Fist has definitely shown he thinks FF7's overrated. I, on the other hand, love the game to death. Now, I'm well aware of it being overrated, and to a lot of degrees, it really is. But it's a game that I still enjoy today, even through all of its flaws and bullshit, and the fact that it did not age quite well. I love 7. I actually like 8 a little bit too, which is odd because I hated it when I was younger, and I replayed it and was like, wow, it's really not all that bad. And 9,
It's cool. I like it. Yeah.
So,
I thought it was good. It's weird. I actually, if I was given a choice between 7, 8, or 9, I'd go with 8 because I actually do like a lot of what Final Fantasy VIII brings to the table. My only problem with it was probably one of the worst video game experiences, one of the worst video game horror stories I've ever experienced in my life. When I played the game through I finished the 3rd disc, I think. I'm at the beginning of the 4th. I'm right at the end of the game, and I learn that I've been playing the game wrong, and that I can't progress any further unless I load a previous save from really early in the game and decide not to play like a fucking retard.
I was gonna say, how did you do that?
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
GF junctioning. If you junction, I figured I had a choice. The game basically wants to shoehorn you, and I didn't know this at the time, into junctioning more than one GF to a character. I reasoned if I junction just one to a character, it would make the character and the GF level up quicker and stronger. And it, of course, did. My GFs were insanely strong, but I didn't have 50 different ones junction to my character. I had one to a character. So I got into this fight at the beginning of the 4th disc, where what's her schnoz is strapped to the chest of the sorceress that doesn't have titties, so I don't know why it's called a sorceress.
Rinoa, and she's strapped to Alexandria.
Adele. And
that's
so you're doing that little boss fight, and it's the first boss fight in the game where you cannot, under any circumstances, use your GFs.
No,
and so I didn't have enough GFs junction, I didn't have enough melee attack power, and I couldn't progress in the game. And I had a friend who's a hardcore Final Fantasy veteran take the controller from me and try and beat it like he was convinced, I can get around this. You didn't fuck up your game permanently. No, I fucked up my game permanently. And the game at no point explained in any tutorial or anything that you have to junction more than one to a character. It let me play the game wrong for 3 butt fucking discs. So that was fun.
One thing about the FF8 that's still to this day I won't get over because I fucking loathe it is the draw system.
Yeah, everybody says the draw system.
It rings true. The very first time I played the demo, which damn, I cannot remember what the demo was included with. Fuck.
What was that with? That was with
it was a really big deal too.
Was it Bushido Blade? No.
It could be Parasite Eve 1.
It was Was that?
I think
it was a standalone demo. It didn't come bundled with anything else. It was just a demo by itself.
Could have been on the magazine cover.
I thought it came with a game. Oh fuck.
Maybe it was PlayStation. Was it PlayStation Magazine? Like the official PlayStation Magazine? Because I know that they... Oh my god, now I cannot remember.
I know. How can we be forgetting that?
Well, okay, put it this way. I got the demo and everything, and the demo starts you off in a really weird area of the game. But, whenever you play it, it's like, it's not really like that. And I was just like, this magic draw system is just fucking bonkers, man. Like, it didn't sink in during the demo, but once I got the game, I hated it. I was like, all right, time to stack up all of my Firaga, and all right, and Blizzaga, awesome. I got all of these, and it was just really, really retarded. But on the flip side, it gave me the sole purpose to get a Pocket Station. And the only reason why I bought a Pocket Station was for Final Fantasy VIII.
And the Chocobos. Yay.
Yeah, the little Chocobo world. You can run around in it, and assuming that you have, I don't know, an entire crate of fucking watch batteries to power the little bastard, then you can go through Chocobo world and give yourself permanent guardian forces of a couple of the one-time use item summons that you normally can't have the entire time.
Yes.
So it was kind of nifty. But, yeah.
And the weapons crafting
So
system
it's saying here that
bad.
it was released with Brave Fencer Machado. Really? Was it really? Brave Fencer.
Brave Fencer Musashi.
Yeah.
It had. There was a demo on there. It had a couple things. They had, was it the Squaresoft Volume 1, 2?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I know that Xenogears was on one of them, I don't remember what FF8 was on. See, that's going to bother me to know. And if any of our listeners know where the single, it's not bundled with anything. Keep in mind, this is just a Final Fantasy VIII demo that's by itself. If you can remember what it's from, please comment, because I'll check and just be like, oh, that was it. And
I know because I didn't have Brave Fencer at that time. So where did I get the demo from? And I remember it was a big deal when I got it. I was like, oh my god, I had to throw it in the PS1. I was so excited, but I can't remember where the fuck I got it from. Weird.
It's going to be one of those that's going to drive you fucking nuts. So
yes.
So in retrospect, we have memories of Final Fantasy games, but Yo Chaos hates them. There we go.
Well, what are you gonna do?
Not as much as I do. Anyway,
yes, in fact, Razor Fist and we actually share the Hate Bit Tag Team Championship, which is involved in hating Final Fantasy, just so you know.
It is.
And if any of us disappear from YouTube for whatever reason, one of us has gone crazy from something related to Final Fantasy VIII.
Yes.
Anyway, you know what? It's a sad time, but we've come to the end of our show.
You
know what that means.
A minute, you missed something.
Oh, what you got? Did I miss something? What the fuck could I possibly have missed? We've been talking for an eon.
You've missed out the most important thing about this podcast.
What?
My favourite section, your favourite section, and everybody's favourite section, the rants.
You steal my fucking scene again, I will kick your face.
I've done it twice.
No.
So
anyway, you know what? We got a great big rant coming, and it's when we have a special guest. We always have that special guest give us a rant, and the happiest guy on the internet is gonna tear you a new asshole. I understand. Johnny Millennium, what's on your brain?
Oh man, it's funny because we were talking. Me and Alpha were talking the other day. He's like, "Oh, you better have a rant," and I was like, "Shit, I have a rant. I really have a rant." And I was gonna make a video about this, and I was gonna go ballistic. I was so fucking pissed off. I couldn't believe it. And it takes a lot to get me pissed off. I'm a pretty calm guy, but Sega. Yeah, it just starts with Sega.
Ooh.
And it's just YouTube in general. Like, I would like to think that I'm a huge supporter of Sega, and I support all their old stuff. I'm always giving them good press and always singing their praises. I'm trying to, even though we know they're shrinking and the company's not doing well and all of that. I still hold a candle to the old Sega. And I just couldn't believe this, that I went onto my YouTube account and Sega had filed copyright against me for I had to figure out what it was. It was like for some new GameStop episode. So I'm like, what the fuck? I went and checked it out, and the footage was of fucking Bayonetta. And I'm like, Bayonetta, and it was from a trailer. So I was talking about when I bought Bayonetta and how fucking awesome it was. And I was telling my audience how great it was. Go out and buy Bayonetta. It's a great game. Sega is so retarded these days that they fucking flag their own good press. And I was like, are you guys out of your fucking mind? Like, first of all, I'm using trailer footage. I'm singing your praises. I'm the biggest supporter of Sega on... I would like to think in the YouTube scene, I'm always talking about Sega. And they come in and they fucking flag my video. And my only response was I could have fought against it, but I was like, you know what? It's not worth it. Or I could remove the video. So I removed the video. And I don't care about removing the video. It was the idea that Sega was so fucking retarded that they come after their own good press. And especially where they're at right now as a company. They're not doing great, and I want them to do great. I'm like that fucking beaten dog that comes back, even though I'm fucking beaten by them, I still fucking like Sega. But I was like, come on, you fucking idiots. What are you doing?
Well, you honestly can't say you're surprised, can you? This is the
same...
same...
No, I know, I'm not surprised. That's what
right?
pisses me
This
off.
is the same company that released an entire line of software that required you to own 2 peripherals for one console that almost nobody owned to begin with.
I know.
Connect.
You know what my problem is? My problem with the rant with Sega is that Sega has changed so much from the days when I loved them. And we're talking the last time that I loved them was the Dreamcast era. And they released all those wonderful fucking games, Skies of Arcadia, Fantasy Star Online. I mean, I could just go on and on. It's just, the list is fucking phenomenal.
Not to mention the games built on the Naomi.
And I had a similar situation, actually, only it was with a movie. I just released my last episode, proper episode, anyways, was the a review of Commando. Right, the
Yeah, I
Schwartz-
love that. I watched that, by the way.
Thank you. But anyways, so it got flagged for copyright like the second I put it up, and I'm like, man, do you think anyone's like going at it? I mean, I'm not saying I'm like an insanely popular guy on YouTube or anything, but me singing the praises of Commando via a review can only help, whoever it is.
Well, you know what
made
that was? You were flagged by their automatic system. So basically,
It is. They have an
that
automatic
company
system.
has Commando footage in YouTube, and it scans it. So when you're putting up a video and it says processing, it's scanning it backwards, forwards, sideways, everywhere.
Yeah.
If you flip the footage nowadays, it even detects that. So
Yeah.
it was. But the thing is, for me, I released this video like a year and a half, 2 years ago, and they flagged me from like I don't know what happened recently that all of a sudden some Sega alarm went off. Some guy's like, "Holy shit, get that fucking guy's shit off!" Like, well, I'm fucking supporting you guys. Why are you coming after me? I was like, okay, you know what? I can cut down on the Sega support a little bit, no problem.
Yeah, that's absurd to think that they're just like, oh my god, I have to flag you. I want you to take down the fact that you have a video and you have thousands upon thousands of people are going to watch, and you're telling them to like something that they may not have paid any attention
Exactly.
to, and that's going to help us. You know what? That's not fucking cool. Take that shit down. Take that shit down now.
It showed me, it must have been an automatic thing that they'd set up, like anybody using Bayonetta footage. Like Bayonetta was such an underseller. They should be really, anybody who says anything about the game, put it up there. It's press. If they put it up, there's a trailer. It's press. But it was a trailer, and trailer is fair, fair use on, obviously on YouTube. But the YouTube is very gray with its copyright lines. We all know that. It's very. So what happened with the Commando stuff? What happened with the Commando stuff?
Well, I contested it, and I guess they have until the 15th of August to respond or rip me a new asshole. So it's up in the meantime, but it may eventually be taken down, assuming YouTube sides with a corporation over one
And
lowly
they will.
YouTube
That's a problem.
user.
They'll side with the corporation over you any day of the week. Especially
Absolutely.
But just to support Johnny's argument there, your review actually was praising the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear
was
one
entertaining
negative.
as fuck.
It
Like,
was
yeah.
entertaining. It's
See, I don't
fucking awesome.
understand. Okay, I understand if you were taking music and uploading it and then trying to monetize the video.
Yeah.
Okay, I can understand if you're taking full movies or TV shows and uploading them, trying to monetize them, so then you're financially gaining something and profiting from other people's work. Okay, I understand that, but when you are reviewing, okay, that's just like if you had a fucking blog. That's like if you uploaded fucking fan art of something. That makes no fucking sense.
It doesn't make
to go
any
and
sense.
say, hey, take this down. Like, why would you even consider, like, as a big of a company as Google is, okay, because Google owns YouTube, they should be able to see that's just silly and makes no fucking sense. What grounds can anybody complain on? Especially when you're singing the praises of something, it's just like, okay, who's angry and why? Like, what stick is up your ass that you can't just suddenly fucking shit out?
Yeah.
But
I don't get that.
This is so interesting to me because it's perceived one way because it came on the internet, but this would be very similar to, any one of us having fans who present like a piece of art to you like they usually do, and one of us just hawking a big loogie and spinning it right in your mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
That's kind of what this seems like. But the discussion
I don't know.
is not about
Careful with some of our fans, that might actually turn them on.
Oh.
To watch out.
Well, your results may vary. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. But I'm a big supporter of Sega. I've supported Sega since since I started fucking games.
Is that what we were talking about?
Yeah, we're talking about Sega. going back onto Sega briefly, but
Yeah, Sega are fuckers.
I just can't get my head around why they would do something like that. It's fucking crazy.
It must have been an automatic thing. They put some Bayonetta trailer up and said, if any video on YouTube has this footage, I don't know what it was. Maybe somebody at Sega who hates my guts.
Yeah,
Maybe.
same thing happened
Well,
to.
I don't know. You kind of cut the wire off a
Oh, I know.
phaser,
I'm
didn't
always
you?
saying how much I
And,
hate Sega. It's,
you've
The same-
smashed a few fucking Mega Drives and a few
Oh,
Genesis,
yeah, I know.
Genesis, whatever you want to fucking
And
call
you
it.
weren't very nice in your 3D review either.
No.
Do you know everybody? I know everybody's like, you should stand back from the TV. I'm like, no, the fucking 3D is bad close to the TV or far back from the TV. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, and
It was
don't
average.
forget your Sega unboxing when you set it on fire. You know, you're
Oh
And-
yeah, I know.
And
eh?
what's sad is
funny.
this goes and limits a lot of people's creativity whenever they want to make something. It's like, oh, I'm worried about doing stuff. Like, I've wanted to review albums ever since I started my YouTube account, and I haven't because I don't feel like getting my account flagged for having a,
You
a
don't, as long
portion
as
of a
they're
track.
cool now. They're cool now. As long as you remove it, they're fine. But they'll give you the option. If you don't remove it, you might get flagged or you might get your account deleted. So he's just like, yeah, I'll just delete the video. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
It's
you know?
a shame.
It really is a shame. I mean, when you're doing it in such a way, it's just like, this is a review style. It's like, what harm? Seriously, what harm? And I know damn well, as somebody who's listening right now is probably coming across a similar situation, assuming they upload, where they come across this same kind of bullshit of, well, that's copyrighted material, even though, it's actually positive press for us. Yeah, take that shit down. Do it. Pronto. So
Crazy.
fucking lame.
Fucking
I feel bad, man.
idiots.
There's my rant. Do you know what? And I wanted to do a video about it. I was steamed. And Kim was like, you know what? Just calm down and think about it. And do you know what? I was glad because I was like, fuck Sega. Fuck you. I was so mad. I was
Oh,
so pissed
God.
off at the time.
Yeah, but
I'm glad I didn't.
I just want to say
Yeah.
this. Fuck Nintendo. There we go.
Fuck
There you go.
Fuck Sony.
Fuck everybody, right?
my
That's
God.
Fuck
not
everybody.
here the Hate Bit podcast. But
And
anyway,
fuck Hideo Kojima for good measure.
Yeah.
they just good measure. But as it's happened again, you've wasted another 6 months of your life listening to the Hate Bit podcast. We thank you for joining us. We're gonna have to get out of here because we've been here for fucking ever.
Yeah.
And you
I've got
YouTube's
to edit
gonna hear
this
what
shit
we're
together now.
That's right. So, we thank you for joining us. Joining us has been the Happy Console Gamer.
Thank you guys for having me. Absolutely. I'm glad I got to have my angry rant on the show. I'm very happy about it.
Oh, we'll certainly have you back one day.
Thank you
Super
guys.
Swans did Magnus.
Yes, this has been a great season. Hopefully, I'll have something special for you guys on the 8-Bit Podcast channel. Yeah, so thanks very much for listening to Season 1. We shall see you on Season 2. There we go.
The angsty Alpha Omega Sin.
Hello and goodbye, and check out Happy Console Gamer's channel, because if you don't, I'll punch your mom in the tit. The right one, to be exact.
I'd like to see that. Don't check it out. And so I can just watch that.
Also joining us was the Stinky Head Razor Fist.
Stinky head.
You stinky head.
Stinky head.
I would just like to thank all of our hate-bit hedonists and rageaholics and sainted Magnus heads and
No, the
chaos.
Sainted Muffins. They're the Sainted Muffins.
Yell chaoticians. There we go.
Chaoticians, I like that one.
And happy console gamers and alpha somethingites. Alphaites. I don't know. I'm coming up with things here. I'm pulling things out of my head. Anyways, I would just like to thank you all for listening to Season 1 and God fucking speed.
God fucking speed. There we go.
That's been it. We thank you very much. We hope you enjoy.
Hate Bit Podcast.